folks. I'm WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Tito Santana.
This is Kurt Angle.
This is Bret the Hitman Hart, and this is going out to Scott and Holly.
You are listening to the
Win Twice Wrestling Podcast
with Scott and Holly.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
And this ho's for everybody. Ho!
Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to listen to the incomparable Win Twice Wrestling Podcast with your hosts, Scott and Holly. We always go over, brother, and that's the bottom line. Dig it? So, sit back, relax, and prepare to be entertained.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 64 of the Win Twice Wrestling Podcast alongside your co-hosts Scott and Holly.
Hello.
Morning, Holly.
Good morning.
It's a bit early, well it's not actually that early for you, but you were woken up with quite a start, were you not?
Always.
So what happened exactly this morning?
Just the joys of living above a shop, I'll be honest.
Yeah?
Alarm going off constantly between 3 and 5, that was fun.
The entire time?
Yep.
Oh, when you said that I thought you just couldn't pinpoint the time it was.
Oh no, I looked at my phone and I was like, brilliant.
So it went on
Cool.
for 2 hours?
Yeah.
What? That's just someone
you do
broke
get
in?
used to it after a while. I think so. I think they're trying, but it's not the first time this has happened.
No, it's not.
Get used to it after a while.
I just like the idea though of you standing bolt right out of bed and going, what's going on? I'm ready.
It's so silly. I thought my alarm was going off.
Yep.
I was like, oh, it's early.
Speaking of getting up when not necessarily, well, not when you're not supposed to, but I don't have many stories that entertain me about my father, but one of them particularly amuses me, and that's when I was a baby. So I don't have first-hand knowledge of this because obviously too young, and my mum was obviously the one that was always getting up in the night to deal with me when I was crying. And this time it was my dad's turn to get up and do it, and he wouldn't move. He was out cold. And my mum lost patience, elbowed him really hard in the ribs and said, "Gary, get up and deal with your son." He jumped out of bed, ran round the room, ran straight into the wall, ran back round, got in bed, still asleep.
Oh.
Got up, just like I said, ran straight into a wall, turned back and got back in bed. There you go.
Wow. Okay.
So that's pretty good. I mean, at least you didn't do that. So there were levels to
and I'm
getting up.
clumsy, so it's always a possibility.
Honest to God, I will never not find you stumbling over that step in the pub amusing. That was so funny.
It's a laugh a minute in my life right
It
now.
really is, isn't it? But I guess we should get back onto more relevant topics, and that being the wrestling show which we're going to be reviewing. And it's kind of a return to a first of series for us,
The cherry.
albeit a little bit unintentional. I think I was just looking through to see what was available on Netflix, and this is something that I did want to cover at some point anyway, because you won't be familiar with much of this era of wrestling, or many eras of wrestling for that matter.
Sure.
But it's this to me is around about the age where I was fully taking on board what I was seeing in terms of wrestling. So I've got a lot of memories from like 95 onwards.
Okay.
So I remember seeing stuff beforehand, but everything from 95 onwards still feels like it's quite fresh in my mind for the most part.
Gosh, imagine what that must feel like.
What, having a memory?
Yeah.
It's do you know what? It's good. I'm happy with it. I am happy with it. But the show that we're actually contending with today is the very first In Your House. So In Your House 1, technically, but retrospectively, after the first 16 In Your Houses, they actually started to give them names, even though it was after the fact it had actually happened. So this one was just called Premiere.
Oh.
There were other ones which have got very interesting names.
Right.
Well, I don't want to kind of ruin it for you, but if and when we get to the second In Your House, it's called Lumberjacks.
Oh.
So, not as sexy, not nearly as sexy as you think it's going to be.
In my head it is.
We've probably got the likes of Bastion Booger and all these kind of gross, blobbish men. Mantor, all these. Oh, it's not going to be good.
Mental thought's gone.
Yeah, exactly. Drier than the Sahara,
That's not
as
a
you would say.
Cowboys one, is there?
No. Although we do kind of get a little bit of cowboy on the first episode of this.
We do.
So, Holly, do you have any passing knowledge or familiarity with the In Your House concept?
No.
Okay. So, to you, this was just a show.
I've heard it. I heard it was a thing.
As in historically, or the fact that NXT brought it back a few years ago?
That, I think, is probably where I've heard it from.
Because you would have seen the show. I remember Io Sky specifically doing like a moonsault off the house symbol.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was quite clear in my mind, which was about 3-4 years ago now. So I've got a little bit of background
Ooh,
for you. I like to try and set the table, kind of bring you into the mix, as it were, of whatever we're discussing. And you'll be pleased to know it's not from my frequent source. In fact, I haven't gone to them for a while, so I'm not going to name them, in fact. But this one is from eWrestling News. So, in 1995, the World Wrestling Federation came up with an idea to help combat their competitors' World Championship Wrestling in the pay-per-view market. WWF would normally put on 5 major pay-per-view events a year: Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, King of the Ring, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. But nothing in between, in terms of the super shows. Their idea would be to put on monthly events in between their big 5, which would be at a cheaper pay-per-view rate. They would call these events WWF In Your House. Similar to WWE's monthly events today, these events would help continue major storylines while also being a platform for their top matchups. The set of the show goes down as one of the more iconic and memorable sets in wrestling history. You look confused at that.
Yeah, okay.
Just the house setup. It is unique.
I mean, yeah, it's a bit different.
I don't think they're saying it's... When they say iconic, I don't think they mean...
not the best. Just
yes, it's an iconic
memorable.
look. Yes.
Okay.
Like the Iconics, as a female tag team, were probably not the best female tag team ever, but they're very good at the same time. They set up an actual house theme for each of the events and built it into the arena. The full set would then be adapted to fit the name of whatever the In Your House concept was for the event. For example, if there was a Buried Alive match, the house's yard would feature a cemetery.
Oh, I don't want to watch one of those. I didn't realise they were the thing.
What, Buried Alive matches?
No, I don't want to.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Oh,
there are.
God.
There are. It's going to be a happening, Holly.
Oh.
It's going to be a happening. For example, the second event is In Your House 2, The Lumberjacks. But the 17th event is In Your House, Ground Zero. The names would usually have something to do with the main event, not the Ground Zero that you're thinking
okay.
of. Okay, because this is, bearing in mind, this would have been
Jesus.
98, something
okay,
like that. So
right, okay.
well before the Twin Towers were attacked. So the Lumberjacks had the main event of Psycho Sid versus Diesel in a Lumberjack match, hence the name. We get that again then.
Oh.
Bearing in mind they were like doing them like monthly.
Okay, so it's
So-
not like 3 months down the line they're still banging on this
No,
one.
so this was done, the show we're watching was done in May.
Yes.
I feel like June would have been King of the Ring. So
Yeah.
that probably would have been July, I think. So there's a
Right,
2-month gap there, I think.
Okay.
During the In Your House years, some of the events were also named after WWF's most valuable stars. In Your House, D-Generation X, and In Your House, Rock Bottom were perfect examples of this. You like that?
So silly. I don't know why that's tickled me.
Rock Bottom, yeah. This would vary as time would go on, and the names would become a bit more traditional. Some of these In Your House names stuck even after the idea was retired. No Way Out, Unforgiven, and Judgment Day were WWE pay-per-views for many years after the expiration of In Your House.
Oh, okay.
So, in summary, WCW were already putting on monthly pay-per-view events. WWF were thinking, well, we need to do something in order to kind of at least match what they're doing. So they put stuff on monthly. The shows were shorter, as you'll know from what we've seen, but they'd also make the price for it cheaper. So let's say, arbitrarily, a normal pay-per-view event would cost $40, $50. Okay? So which is alien to us, really, because, I mean, the only things that we have as
Stunning.
pay-per-view really would be, like, big boxing events.
Yeah.
I mean, there are other things in the UK that do that, of course,
yeah.
but for us, mainly, that is what it tends to be. And to be fair, the WWE for a while were that as well, but if you had the right subscription setups, you didn't need to worry about it, or the network, for that matter. So they would reduce the price for these, so I think it was $20.
Right.
Which, when you think about it, you're still getting 2/3 of the same amount of, action
Yeah.
for half the price, or less than half the price. That's not bad. So I think a lot of people had been quite open to that as a concept. But let's go back to the very beginning of In Your House,
Okay.
and this show specifically. So the date for this event was the 14th of May 1995. The venue was the Onondaga County War Memorial in Syracuse, New York. Attendance on the night was 7,000, and the pay-per-view buy rate was a respectable 332,000, which isn't bad at all, especially when you consider the general quality or lack thereof in the WWF roster in 1995. That isn't to say that everyone was bad, because they weren't.
No.
You've still got the likes of your Bret Harts, your Shawn Michaels, so they're still obviously carrying a load of the work rate. But you've also got the more lumbering types. And as much as I loved Yokozuna as a kid and feared him, you could tell Big Boy was blowing up just from walking at this point. And this is only 2 years on from when he won the title at WrestleMania 9.
Jesus, he's been eaten.
He has. Well, he used to do stuff like he would get, I think I've told you this before, but he would get fried chicken and just dip it into jars of mayonnaise and just eat it like that. He knew where the best food stops were. And obviously him and Vader, when they got put into fat camp to escape to eat food and then come out fatter, is almost commendable.
Quite impressive.
It is commendable. Also, how, if you're 600 pounds, are you sneaking your fat ass anywhere? How is that going undetected? I'm sorry. I feel like someone would have... To be fair, who's going to argue?
Big spoon to dig underneath a fence to escape.
Exactly. Well, usually there's something else in his spoon, to be fair, which was part of the problem. But to be fair, if Vader or Yokozuna said to me, I'm going past to get some fast food, I'm like, fill your boots, mate.
Yes.
I'm not the guy to stop you. No. It's not me. So I do have a little bit of sympathy with the security guards there that were willfully ignorant, shall we say. Did you have any kind of preconceptions to what you were about to see?
The only thing was I knew Razor Ramon was on this.
And that's because of the screenshot that was on Netflix, which is what I thought would win you over if I suggested it.
Let's be clear. Yes, it did. And then as soon as you start watching it, it tells you everything that's about to happen anyway.
It does, and normally this would annoy me, and it would certainly annoy you. Yes. But I didn't think it was too egregious for some reason. I don't know why, because it didn't feel like a big event. So it wasn't like SummerSlam where they're rattling off. It just felt like, to me, it almost didn't feel like a pay-per-view. Yeah, no, to me it just was like a normal show. But one thing I will say, which I did enjoy, I thought the pacing of the show was actually very good. Okay. In terms of the length of the matches, at no point did I think that's gone on too long. No. And even the ones that were made to go short, I went, that works. No, I agree. There was only one match on it that went a fairly significant length of time, and quality-wise, it was the best match for me personally on the night. Obviously, we'll dive into that in a little bit more detail as we go through this, because obviously you like to keep your expectations to a relative minimum. Always low. And because you've had your fingers burnt by some shows in the very recent past that we've done in these recordings. So I'm hoping there was enough here that you could at least pick out and go, do you know what, that was all right. I'm not expecting it was fantastic, but I don't want... I will punch you in the throat if you make me watch something like this again. Oh, okay. I didn't want that coming. Okay. Didn't want that energy being radiated off you. So let's go into the show opening. The show opens with the classic WWF logo appearing on screen, looking like it's made out of glass, yet also appearing to be a shade of purple. Purple was the theme, if you remember, with WrestleMania 11 at this time. What a shit show that was, by the way. Mm-hmm. Worth noting, this was, less than a month and a half after that WrestleMania? So that kind of puts it into context as well for you. As lights shoot out around the glass, the voiceover tells us that the WWF has been the revolutionary force in sports entertainment for over 50 years. I used to like that as a kid. Okay, it made me feel nostalgic. From here, we appear to be taken to a Floridian-looking house with the In Your House logo shaking on the top left-hand side of the screen. Based upon the mildly sepia colouring, it appears this image was taken around sunset. When the image of the house disappears, we see shots of the WWF champion Diesel and his challenger Psycho Sid appear on screen. So, Holly, you kind of know what's going to be happening in the main event later tonight. It's a happening. It is a happening. Yeah. What were you feeling towards this? Fine. Yeah? Don't mind those two. Fine. Equally proportioned men. Exactly. So that's fine. Both okay. Big boys. Fine. They were big, beefy boys. Big boys. Do you know what? Yeah. One of them actually may have won me around with a lot of their stuff on this show. And I was surprised. Okay. I was surprised. Yeah, I think I might know who it is. Okay. Out of interest, who do you think? Diesel. Okay, we'll see. I know it's not, by the way. I've literally put here, Holly, what are your thoughts on these two beefy boys going head to head? Yeah. Are you actually interested in seeing what the match looks like, or are you just... Okay. Well, yeah, because they are... For me as well, it's both very equal stature. Yep. In my head, would put one, without watching them, just mentally would put one in front of the other of being better. Diesel, I assume. Yes. But I was like, yeah, I'm here for it. Fine. I think if I'm thinking about their matches, Diesel can do more in the ring, but we'll get into his character later. The Psycho Sid thing, for me, okay. Not bad. Yeah, okay. Not bad, and I would say damn near over-delivers, because I went into this fully expecting to be like, this is going to be shite. Because Diesel I didn't particularly ever care for. The best, for me when I was a kid, Diesel's peak was his appearance in the 1994 Survivor Series, which is when he was a heel, never won the title yet, because he was a destroying, all-conquering force. So the goody two-shoes side of him never really resonated with me as a kid. As an adult, I try and look at it with a fresh perspective, but it's not always possible to completely extract your original thoughts about the individual. But yeah, Psycho Sid. We'll talk about him more later. We now see... No. We cannot go ahead without acknowledging this. Furthermore, how dry did you go when Diesel referred to himself as Big Daddy?
You know I hate that.
I know you do. It's not the first time it is the first time on this show we hear that. It will not be the last. We now see Psycho Sid laugh, which has the exact same reaction that I had upon hearing Diesel refer to himself as Big Daddy. It would appear that also featured on this card is Yokozuna and Owen Hart taking on the Smoking Guns. This would be their rematch from WrestleMania last month. One of Holly's all-time favourites, the bad guy Razor Ramon, will be taking on Double J Jeff Jarrett and the Roadie in a special handicap match. As excited as Holly would have been to see Razor Ramon on the card, the idea of him going in a handicap match against these two arse clowns will have made her incredibly sad.
Yep.
Also featuring is Adam Bomb taking on Mabel in a King of the Ring qualifying match. Adam is kind enough to welcome us all to the Bomb Squad, whatever the fuck that means. Elsewhere on the card, we'll also see Bret the Hitman Hart take on Hakushi, which as a child growing up would have actually really excited me.
Ooh.
Although I do not believe this to be the case for my co-host.
Who?
By the way, if any of what I say here, because I've obviously got my notes written down, this is the first one where I dictated them.
Yeah.
So I was sequestered and secluded downstairs whilst I was watching this.
Big words.
So I didn't have a computer in front of me to do this, and I didn't want to type on my phone. So I tried it.
We do note taking in different ways, don't we?
We do.
You do it on computer usually, whereas I'm on my notes on my phone, tap 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 tap.
And for the most part, I think it's fine, although certain names and moves it did not like. So every time I wanted to put Hakushi in, I had to type that.
Yeah.
My favourite typo for Hakushi, for those wondering, is her coochie. It knew how to spell that.
Wow.
Most of the time it was coming out with Yoshi or Hakushi. Like, it was doing everything other than Hakushi, no matter how I pronounced it.
Wow.
And then I over-pronunciated
That's very
it.
phonetic, isn't it?
And it went her coochie.
I love that. That's brilliant.
Yeah, so from now on,
Great.
I'm hoping I caught them all. But if I say
hope
her
you
coochie...
didn't. I hope you didn't.
I think I did.
And her coochie flying from the top rope.
Yeah, exactly. And there it is. The first reference to Hakushi being a kamikaze. And we're only 1 minute and 30 seconds into the show. Gorilla Monsoon would have been proud of that, I think. Not only have the WWF managed to shoehorn in outdated references for foreign talent, they've also confirmed the entirety of the card. Holly, how mad did this get you exactly?
It always annoys me. It always does. Because it's just something I don't like. But it is what it is. We roll with the punches.
Because we have no choice.
Exactly.
Oh no. Here I was thinking that was the full card, but I've just been advised that we will also see Bret Hart take on Jerry the King Lawler.
Do we have to?
Yes, sadly we do. In fact, Bret is very quick in telling the King that he will be sent straight to the outhouse. Cool. Back to the image of the Floridian house, we are now advised by Todd Pettengill that this house will in fact be given away to one lucky winner. In fact, I'm pretty sure I heard Todd say that this house is part of a country club estate. Fancy. Pettengill says that maybe the winner will be me. Spoiler alert, wasn't me. Holly, was it you?
No.
Ah. Yeah, okay, fine. I guess we'll find out as we go through. Now, Holly, I put it to you that the next thing that we see is perhaps the most beautifully 1990s themed video opening for any show we have seen for this podcast. The In Your House logo, which is already very cartoon-like, knocks on the front door of a house before entering, with the image then appearing in the middle of the wrestling ring. All the while we hear funky 90s music to really complete the overall package. I fully expected to see Will Smith opening an episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Do you know what it reminded me of? Did you as a kid ever watch Funhouse with Pat Sharp?
Yes, I did.
It reminded me of the starting theme of that.
That could be and correct me if I'm wrong, the most UK-based reference
Yep.
we have ever made on this show.
Yep.
So for
It's a great show. I
It-
always wanted to go on it as a kid.
I will say that Pat Sharp had a very beautiful 1990s, 1980s mullet as well. So he was very of the time. So he probably could have. He could have done Todd Pettingale's job, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Actually, I have to give it credit. It took me a moment to realise that the logo was flashing on the canvas of the ring live in the arena. That was good. The screaming voice of Vince McMahon welcomes us to the very first edition of In Your House! That please you?
I'm bored of his voice now.
We all are. Imagine how Linda feels, Christ. It's alright, he's too busy banging horse. We scan the front row of the crowd to see that everybody is suitably attired in 1990s fashion. Although when I first saw the police officer, who must be acting as security, I did think we were about to see a new gimmick which featured the village people. Oh good God, alongside Vince McMahon is the one, the only, the very replaceable Doc Hendricks. Why, in the name of everything that is holy, would you willingly put Doc Hendricks on the commentary team?
No.
That's a genuine question.
Why? Awful.
He has offered nothing. In every time he's been on the phone,
The phone?
on the screen with a microphone.
Yeah,
It's based off the fact that when he was an active in-ring competitor, working WCCW as one of the Freebirds, I don't know if you're familiar with the Freebirds. So, in fact, the New Day used the Freebird rule when they were the tag team champions. Because in the Fabulous Freebirds, there were 3 members, and any two of them
can have a go.
Any two of them could defend the championships at any time. And that's called the Freebird rule, and Michael Hayes was one of the Freebirds. He was the talker of the group. Terry Gordy, who we've mentioned before, we've seen him before. He
Yes.
was in the main event of Beach Blast 92, I believe. He was in that group. So they had, there was muscle behind it as well. And Michael Hayes was never the best in-ring worker. There's no getting away from it, but he had personality.
Right.
And that carried him much further than it probably ought to have.
Okay.
But that then also didn't translate to me, personally, to doing commentary work, to doing interview work, to any of that kind of stuff. I know he does agent and road agent work behind the scenes, fine.
Yeah, stay behind the scenes.
Yeah,
Fine.
exactly that. I mean, when he came out with the Hardys and stuff, oh, please stop it, Doc.
Was Jess long gone by this point?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jess was long gone. I believe Jess was gone. It must have been between, was it WrestleMania 4 and 5 or maybe just after?
Yeah.
But by
Okay.
WrestleMania 6, I'm pretty certain he was. Oh,
Okay.
maybe no, he was there for WrestleMania 6. I'm trying to remember the last time I heard him on a WWE show. But yeah, this point, 100%.
So they would have had.
Yeah, it was late 80s, early 90s he'd gone.
Yeah, makes me sad.
Yeah, but they still had options there, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
was
trying to
gonna
think.
say.
I think, to be fair, Heenan had gone by this point as well.
Right.
Savage was gone, so he wasn't. Both of them were doing work in WCW. It's, when you look at it, actually, it's a relatively diminishing list, isn't it?
Slim pickings.
You had Jerry Lawler there, but he was still.
I know, obviously, they couldn't because he was still performing, in quotations, but I'd much rather that man is on commentary than ever seeing him in the ring.
I agree. I agree. And it's funny to think that he was like the King of Memphis. He was the all-conquering babyface in that territory
Just
where he
don't
won
get
the title like 30 times or something.
Just don't get it.
It's mad to think, isn't it? And have you heard of the comedian Andy Kaufman? Or Kaufman,
Yes.
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember that interaction that I mentioned between him and Lawler? So Lawler was pretty big, a big deal. Certainly in the area where he was, working mainly. But the stuff in WWF in ring-wise is so beyond a joke at certain points. Like there's a Survivor Series match, and if and when we get to that show, you're going to have an aneurysm watching it because it's Jerry the King Lawler with Cheesy, Wheezy and Queasy, who are little people wrestlers, all dressed the same way as him, against Doink the Clown with
absolutely
Dink,
not.
Pink, Wink.
No. I cannot watch that.
I will put it on the docket because I haven't told you what show it's on. So, and I remember even as a kid thinking, this is dumb.
Oh, the bloody clown.
Yeah, this is dumb. Funny enough, the same show where Diesel actually looked like a monster as well that I was
really?
referencing earlier.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So there's things that you'll get out of that. Razor Ramon's on the card as well.
And they take us away.
They do, don't they? Oh, that will be the most frustrating match for you. But no Jimmy Hart to be found.
Good.
Yeah, so there's something. While stock is being introduced... Whilst stock...
Doc?
It is, yeah. There you go. That's the orating
Hey,
taken away.
Look at me.
Yeah, that's very well done. Whilst Doc is being introduced, he's showing off his golden/bronze suit and admittedly expensive-looking watch, whilst also printing his face. Printing his face? I don't know what I mean there.
I don't know.
His face, which looks particularly hittable on this night. Printing. What was I going for?
Preening.
Yeah, I think that was literally what I was going for, because he was kind of like doing his hair
Yeah.
back and make it like he was checking himself out in the
my
camera.
Gosh, I'm gonna have to pay attention
You
now.
really
So
are. I think I'm
need to be
gonna
on
have-
on the ball here.
To be fair, that's the first time it's really happened up till then, but anyway, we move on. I don't know about you, Holly, but Vince McMahon is now starting to look more like the Mr. McMahon that we would all come to love and hate in a few short years.
Agreed.
In a unique twist, with Vince standing next to the ring when he hands over to the Spanish announce desk, he does so whilst pointing with his open palm. His hand still can be seen in the camera shot as the three gentlemen smile at the camera. Hugo Savinovich, Carlos Cabrera and some random dickhead. Couldn't be bothered to look him up. Vince reminds us that it's Mother's Day Sunday and thanks everyone for the privilege of inviting the WWF into their homes. Doc says that it would be one hell of a Mother's Day if one of those lucky mothers' names is pulled out of the hat to win the house later in the show. Me, personally, I tend to stick with flowers for Mother's Day.
Wow, yeah.
Also, I had a little bit of a PTSD on this because I was
'Cause it's
thinking,
Mother's Day. I did write in my notes, does anyone get a cake in the face?
well, exactly that. So I was thinking back to the first Saturday night's main event, and I might reference it later. But what is quite funny, without intending it to, this show that we're recording will be going out on Mother's Day.
Oh, it will.
Yeah, because it's not going up today. We've already done that.
Yeah.
So, yep, next Sunday, Mothering Sunday. Yeah, this is going up there. So, a bit of serendipity for you.
How bizarre.
Indeed. I'm not entirely sure what Doc says here, but it sounds like he says, "Don't forget I have God privileges." Or golf privileges? Vince's face tells the entire story, one of confusion and concern. I must admit, I do like the In Your House logos that they have on the microphones. I find it aesthetically pleasing to me.
Yeah.
Makes me, again, nostalgic for, a simpler time, maybe. As Doc continues his midlife crisis, he introduces us to the modern-day kamikaze known as Hakushi, and yes, that is what he is referred to as. We are set for the opening match of the night. Hakushi with Shinja, which, by the way, it all rated fine every time, versus Bret the Hitman Hart. Holly, what do you make of the In Your House set in general? We mentioned it earlier about it being iconic. Good vibes, bad vibes, indifferent vibes?
Indifferent, fine. Like, it wasn't bad. It was alright.
Yeah. I reckon after a few of them, you'll probably be like, I'm done with this set now.
Yeah, probably.
Let's move on to something else. But it's still novel
Yeah.
at this
It's
time.
fine.
As we go into match number 1, we see the classic WWF In Your House set, and right alongside that we have a clear glass tank of what appears to be thousands upon thousands of competition letters trying to win that house in Orlando. Hakushi's entrance gear looks to be on point. It gives me Raiden vibes from Mortal Kombat. You will be completely unfamiliar with Hakushi's work.
Yeah.
You're familiar enough with Bret the Hitman Hart's work.
Yeah.
Were you led to believe that therefore this would be probably a good match?
Not until it started.
Okay.
Because if I don't know who someone is,
You assume
they might
on
look like they might look the part,
Mhm.
but then be absolute dross. So, but yeah, no.
So what did you think of Hakushi's looks at like his entrance gear, the way he came out?
Fine.
Better than Shinja's white face paint
Yes.
and a white suit? The white suit I was fine with. The white face paint, I was like, are you a geisha? I don't understand what you're trying to achieve here.
But no, it's all right.
I
Fine.
get manservant for him? A geisha? So maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
Didn't look into it with any great detail, to be honest. Good job we're doing a podcast on it,
Well,
eh?
yeah.
Accompanying him to the ring is Shinja, who has either plastered his face in white paint or gone far too heavy in a bag of nose candy. Holly, is it safe to assume that this is your first time seeing Hakushi?
Yes.
Okay, so Hakushi was primarily based in Japan, as you would expect.
Mm-hmm.
He's worked for various companies over the years. I believe he's done work in AJPW, he's done work in New Japan, albeit briefly, I think. And he was, funnily enough, not considered to be an outstanding talent, but he was very serviceable there. But he was just one of the names that happened to come over to America and did okay for himself, certainly in this era of WWF. I think he opened a lot of people's eyes in an American audience to what else was out there beyond the little bubble, effectively, that was North American wrestling for the most part. Because, like I said, in Japan, he's respected, he's well thought of, but he's not like a legendary character like the Great Muta or anyone like that. But I was interested to see how you would kind of take in what he had to offer. And I guess the only real way of doing that is seeing what he does when the bell rings.
Yeah.
Whilst making his way to the ring, we transition to a clip from WWF Superstar showing how Hakushi got involved in a Bret Hart segment where he was being interviewed by Jim Ross. There's a man to put on commentary.
Yeah, that's true.
We learned that Bret was apparently being honoured by Japanese media, but after eating a chop to the throat, we then see Hakushi do a standing moonsault from the interview platform down onto an unsuspecting Bret Hart. Now Holly has expectations.
Yeah, we don't really see it though. We just see him flip off a box, and then we don't see anything else. And then quickly the camera moves position to show what supposedly has happened. But fine.
The standing moonsault, of course,
nice.
is obviously called an unbelievable manoeuvre by one Vince McMahon.
I have written that down, and I was like, oh, great, brilliant. This is really going to test my knowledge.
The first of many. Doc thinks that Bret Hart was stupid for agreeing to participate in 2 matches and doesn't think he'll win either of them as a result.
Ooh,
fair point.
Harsh words.
When in the ring, Hakushi deliberately and methodically disrobes, handing all of his trinkets to Shinja, who is holding his hat as a bucket beside him. We now go backstage where we see the most atypical sex offender mullet being displayed by Todd Pettingill, who is standing beside a ready and waiting Bret the Hitman Hart.
It's so bad, that hair.
It's an offence.
So bad.
That hair would get sentenced to life.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah. I'm also speaking from a place of jealousy where I could only dream of growing a mullet like that. Todd says that he can hear the chants of "We want Bret" from where he's standing, but Holly, I think he's lying because we can't hear fuck all. Nope. Todd asks the Excellence of Execution how he feels going into match number 1 of the night. Bret says that he only wants to say one thing. He knows Hakushi is a great wrestler, and the fact he's undefeated speaks for itself. The Hitman then proceeds to pull a wedge of his own hair out of his mouth as he continues. But he has never faced anybody like the Excellence of Execution. When Bret turns his head to face Todd, we can see that he has already signed his sunglasses in preparation to hand out to a young fan in the crowd.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I do. Bret says that he will go out there and once again prove he's the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Bret says that he only wants to say one thing, which is actually the 6th thing that he's said so far for those keeping score. The Hitman now gets the Oscar treatment with his music playing to signal that he needs to stop talking and head to the ring. The Hitman's final thought, as he says one more thing, is that he wants to dedicate this match to his mother, but doesn't pause long enough and makes it sound like his mother is Jerry Lawler, who he sends a warning to for later this evening. Bret says that he has only one thing to say about his mother, and that is that she has only one thought, and that is of her son tearing Jerry Lawler apart. That's a lot of singular thoughts there, Bret.
I didn't realise that when you say, I've only got one thing to say, you could just reel off a whole ream of stuff.
Yeah,
as long as you don't take too long of a breath in between, it only counts as one.
Yeah, you've obviously never had a conversation with a female. Nothing but net. He scores from distance.
Damn.
I'm joking.
You're not, though.
No. Bret says that he has... No, we've done that. After finishing his promo, the Hitman turns away from the camera and almost appears to put his head in his hands, which, based on the number of times he said he only had one thing to say, I'm inclined to agree with him. Bret Hart now makes his way to the ring, and this is about as classic of a look that the Hitman will ever have.
Spot on.
Spot on.
Perfect.
Holly, what do you make of Hakushi's appearance, specifically with all the writing on his face and body?
Looks good.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes him look intimidating.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's
really like
that air of mystery as well, isn't it? Because he's obviously not talking. He's just a man of action. Quite, how do I say, reserved in his like physical movements as well. So he's not an outlandish character.
No, I liked it.
No, I think it was good as well. Bret takes the opportunity to hand his glasses to a kid in the front row, and Hart genuinely looks like he loves doing this, which is nice.
I like that.
It was never me, Holly. Never me. I'd take it now. Honestly, I really would. The bell sounds, and this one is underway. The two men slowly circle one another before engaging. They start with a collar and elbow, which Hakushi transitions into a side headlock. They struggle in this position until Bret frees himself by pushing away. Drop down by the Hitman, but there you go, there's one of the first ones. Instead of Hakushi, Hayashi was one that they like put in. But Hakushi somersaults, or as it's got here, some somersaults, over before cartwheeling his way back off the ropes. Bret smiles at this display of athleticism and even gives a small round of applause. So you've seen a little bit of the athleticism right off the bat, so your expectations building somewhat?
Only a little bit by a time, you know.
Okay. Doc claims that he knows what the writing on Hakushi's body says, but refuses to tell McMahon. I'm glad, because I'm pretty sure whatever he said would have been racist. Tentative double knuckle lock up sees the Hitman look for an advantage, but he's quickly taken down to the canvas with a thud courtesy of a hair pull. Brett manages to kip up to his feet and look for an arm wringer, but this is quickly reversed and Brett finds himself down on his knees. As Holly smiles, a ridiculously stupid chant of USA begins, not appreciating the irony, but one of the competitors is from Japan and the other is from Canada.
Yep. It's so silly.
With a hand in his face, Hakushi is pushed up against the ropes, but the following whip is a mess, but does result in Hakushi landing a very nice leaping shoulder tackle. Hook of the leg only gets a 2 count.
Right. Is this the part where... I don't know if it's this or if it's in a minute. There's a pin attempt. I feel like it's this because it leads on. Vince calls it early, and Vince goes, "Oh, it's a cover." He hadn't even covered him yet.
I did not spot that, so
yeah,
you might well be right.
And then I was like, "Oh," and then he cut, and I was like, "Okay, right, we've play-by-played this."
Vince had a couple moments where I was really trying not to listen to the commentary for the most part, but a couple of times he said something. I went, "What? Wait, what was that?"
Yep.
And had to go back. So I've got a couple of his comments down. Back to the arm lock goes Hakushi to keep the Hitman grounded. Whilst pinning the arm to the canvas, he elevates himself into a handstand to then drive the knee down into the elbow. Nice. Back to the arm lock once more. Brett rolls backwards in order to get to his knees, and eventually they return to their feet while still in the hold. The Hitman finds his whip countered, but he also manages to avoid the body slam attempt and succeeded with an O'Connor roll that earns him a near fall. Arm drag takedown by Hart as the Japanese star becomes overzealous and rushes in. Now it's Brett who has an arm lock applied of his own. Hakushi whips himself free but is knocked down to the canvas with a shoulder tackle. Drop down, but there appears to be a miscommunication as the two men sort of collide in the ring, so the Hitman, being the professional he is, quickly drives an elbow down to the back of the neck instead. It was... Yeah. And I get it, because Hakushi, obviously, first language is Japanese, so there's going to be a few missteps, so I can kind of chalk that up as being expected. Still takes you out of it a little bit.
A little bit.
But I think at this point, all their missteps have already taken place. I don't remember another one. There might be.
Yeah,
I might be proven wrong, but I feel like that was the extent of them. Arm drag, takedown. Now it's Brett who has an arm lock applied of his own. Hakushi whips himself free, but is knocked down to the canvas with a shoulder tackle. Oh, no, we've done that. There we go. Hip toss sends Hakushi for the ride, as does the following arm drag. The second arm drag has Hakushi scampering under the bottom rope to the outside. As soon as Brett's back is turned, Hakushi attempts to blindside him, and I'm genuinely surprised that McMahon refrained from using the phrase Pearl Harbor. It's a commonplace thing that they always threw out there.
No.
The Hitman is alert to the danger and returns his attention to his opponent. Big uppercut to the throat lands on the former champion. And the second chop to the throat puts him on the canvas. The Hitman prevents himself from going face first into the turnbuckle, and instead it's Hakushi who eats the padding. Corner whip is reversed and Brett runs sternum first into the buckle, showcasing a true Hitman classic. Always sounds good.
Yeah, it does.
Big body slam scores, as does the following Vader bomb, which earns a 2 count. We now briefly go split screen, where we see Jerry the King Lawler laughing at the misfortune of his future opponent. Back in the ring, Hakushi has applied a devastating trap hold from a reverse mount position. The Hitman struggles to get to his feet, but is soon chopped back down to the canvas. Blatant choke in the corner, and this is followed with a succession of stomps to the chest. Hakushi marches to the opposite corner before charging across the ring and landing with a Bronco Buster. I must stress that this is a singular and not the sausage-eating fest we usually see from Mr. Sean Waltman. Hakushi takes his eye off the ball to climb to the second rope and taunt the crowd before returning his attention to his opponent. Stiff chop to the throat, but Brett avoids the body slam again. However, his second attempt of an O'Connor roll sees Hakushi duck down and send the Hitman flying out of the ring. Nice.
Yeah.
Brett takes a nasty bump off the middle rope on his way outside, and on the floor, Shinja drops a number of stomps on him for good measure. Slowly, Brett rolls back into the ring, and Doc Hendricks says that it is good that Helen Hart has 2 sons, as it doesn't look like this one is going to make it. Actually, she has approximately 400, but we will overlook that statement. Hakushi continues the role that Shinja just Hakushi continues the role that Shinja just filled by stamping away on the former champion. Big corner whip sees the Hitman land hard. Hakushi sits on the top turnbuckle, and while Shinja distracts the referee, begins his choke. Now Brett finds himself choked over the middle rope. Now it's Hakushi's turn to distract the official, while Shinja chokes the Hitman over the bottom rope from the floor. Boo. Doc tells Vince to remain neutral when he begins getting excited over this flagrant cheating. A big chop sends Brett down to the canvas. Backed into the corner, the Hitman eats another of the finest seasoned Kobe cut chops from the Hakushi butcher's counter. Corner whip sees Brett hit the buckles hard, and a handspring back elbow finds its mark moments later. Holly's got to be a fan of that.
Yep.
More choking. I like the way he propels himself up to swing the elbow in as well. Always looks quite devastating. Whereas, was it Kelly did the one where she basically just kind of walked back into them? It's like the flips are great, but the end bit is shite, so the rest of it seems irrelevant. More choking in the corner before official Tim White breaks it up. The Hitman pauses for a moment to remove more hair from his mouth before delivering a kick to the midsection. Right hands from the former champion are soon cut off, courtesy of a rake to the eyes.
Boo.
There it is. Whip reversal sees Hakushi flip and land on his feet from a sidewalk slam attempt before scooping the Hitman up and delivering a gut-wrench suplex come backbreaker that leads to a near fall. Very nice. Doc is encouraging the Japanese competitor to cover him again because he's tired and doesn't have much left. Up to the top goes Hakushi, and after striking a prayer pose, lands a beautiful diving headbutt for a 1, 2, no. Looking to capitalise, Hakushi heads to the apron where he springboards to the top rope but misses with a splash attempt. Is it safe to assume, Holly, this is not what you expected from 1995 WWF?
No.
In a positive way, I assume?
Yes.
So you were really warming up to the match at this point, or you were?
A bit, yeah.
Yeah, a bit. Okay. She's still being reserved, being a bit coy. The crowd are cheering in encouragement for Brett, who leaps to his feet and looks all business. Right hands by the Hitman, and he whips his opponent into a big punch to the gut before connecting with a side Russian leg sweep for a near fall. Running Bulldog scores, but this only gets 2 as well. The Hitman continues to go through the gears as he scores with a backbreaker and lands a second rope elbow drop in classic Brett fashion. Is it time for the sharpshooter? Not yet, as Shinja jumps onto the apron to cause a brief distraction. Fortunately, Brett returns his attention just in time to duck under a chop to the head and counter with an inverted atomic drop. Clothesline that Brett connects with next flips Hakushi head over heels in devastating fashion. That looked brilliant.
Yeah, it did. Agreed.
We see a gentleman walking through the crowd appearing to sell what looks to be like either Peperamis or Slim Jims. Ooh, yeah! Hakushi looks to be deadweight and collapses when Brett lands a headbutt. With Hakushi against the ropes, the Hitman unloads a series of right hands before hitting the ropes, where he finds himself tripped by Shinja. Not willing to accept this bullshit, Brett immediately turns back and connects with a suicide dive on the manager. The landing looked quite unpleasant.
Yes.
Mounted right hands from the Hitman, who is extracting a measure of revenge. Back in the ring, Brett goes for a drop down, but still eats a drop kick to the face. The cover earns a 2 count. Safe to say you weren't expecting Bret Hart to hit a suicide dive.
No, thank you.
Was it excellently executed?
I don't want to see it.
Okay. You don't want to see any of them again, though. That's the thing. Suplex attempt blocked by Hitman, who then scores with one of his own, sending both men over the top and down to the floor. That's a spot we see more often than more often than you'd think.
Yes.
Because the first time I saw that, I was like, oh, that's different. And now I feel like we've seen it. Granted, we've done 64 shows, but I swear this is like the 5th or 6th time we've seen it. Then again, the number of arm bars we've seen.
Yeah.
Holly, what do you think of the toe separation boots being worn by Hakushi here? This is the first time I've noticed them.
Oh.
So he's got the toe in the big toe in one section and the rest.
Oh, I see.
So like a gloved or mitten type thing for your feet.
Yeah.
I feel like that's asking for trouble. I just can't imagine it's comfortable.
I don't know. It's not for me. But...
No, it's not for me either. Then again, I'm not competing with Bret Hart, thankfully. As the two look to return to the ring... No. Both men are down on the outside, and Shinja looks concerned over his charge. The cameras, for some reason, show us commentary for what exactly, I'm not sure. As the two look to return to the ring, Shinja grabs the leg of Hart, preventing him from returning. Brett drops down and grabs Shinja by the hair to land a headbutt, but does not see the Acai moonsault headed his way, which lands beautifully.
I really didn't like that. Because
Why?
to me it looked like Brett's leg just gives way underneath him.
Which plays into something we see later.
Awful. Yeah, I know. But, you're just like, ugh.
I'll be honest, I didn't spot that. I thought it looked quite good.
And also when they do these things, older shows, when they do them, I'm very conscious of the fact that there doesn't seem to be a lot of room between the ring and whatever barricade is there.
True, and also that was the side of that commentary was on.
Exactly. Always get a bit like, ooh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm always thinking like smacking your shin off the table on your way down. Fans in the front row take the opportunity to pat and stroke the Hitman. Hakushi returns to the ring first and awaits as the referee begins his count. Cut off on the apron, Brett prevents being suplexed back into the ring but cannot score with a German suplex attempt. Go behind by Hakushi, who also finds his attempt blocked, allowing the Hitman to roll forward and secure a pin for the 1, 2, 3. Win out of nowhere. Your winner by pinfall, Bret the Hitman Hart. As soon as the match finishes, fireworks erupt at the top of the arena, which is a rarity for an opening match. Bret raises his forefinger to the fans years before the tribal chief demanded acknowledgement as he celebrates with his fans. Lot of use of the word fans there. The Hitman always has an incredible way of demonstrating how tired he is, and after he exits the ring, he appears to have twisted his ankle. Clumsy git. Holly, what do you think of the match?
Yeah, it was alright. I scored it right down the middle. I think also when it comes first as well, it's like, okay, like I did like it, but knowing that he then had another match later with someone else that I really didn't want to see, and I understand why they were placed this way round, having watched the show.
Yeah, it has to be that way round.
But yeah, it was alright, fine. I enjoyed it. It was the right length, spot on, fine, perfect opener.
Okay.
2.5.
You said you split it down the middle. I assumed, but you didn't actually say.
I don't know.
I don't think so. Okay. I'm a little bit higher. I went 3 stars. Thought that was pretty good, especially with like the springboard Asahi moonsault, springboard dive into the ring. There was a lot of stuff that suicide dive even from Bret Hart. It delivered more than what I thought was a 2.5. I didn't want it to say 2. It didn't feel right having a 2 in there for me, so that's why I went 3. Don't get me wrong, 3's still not a fantastic score, but it's a good score. It's a good score. The cameras head backstage where we see Todd Pettengill standing at the WWF Superstar Hotline behind women's champion Alundra Blaze and Stan Lane. Alundra Blaze, that was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. As Pettengill continues to prattle on, into the shot walks Jerry Lawler, who says they are wasting time and his match should begin now. Lawler says that Bret is clearly ready, having just finished his first match, and that he is ready to get him in the ring right this second. I'm pleased to see that Blaze is wearing a cast-off from the Dolly Parton line, as well as a haircut that every mother in the 1990s also elected for. She was also the WWF Mums Champion as well. She was. Lawler acts surprised when Pettengill mentions the Hitman's injured knee, but the King confirms that this is not why he wants the match to take place. When Lawler realises that the winners come down to the hotline, he feigns getting contacted, requiring him to leave the vicinity. You laughed. Oh dear. Did you like that?
Yeah, because it got him off the screen.
Fair. Speaking of the 1990s, the King shows a pager and says his mum contacted him from upstairs and he has to go. Todd now throws us back to Stephanie, who is not McMahon, who is at the In Your House set, and she emerges behind a blue door to head towards the glass container of competition entries.
Yeah, I've written that as a large Tupperware full of paper.
Yeah, you're not wrong, except I think it's glass or perspex. Yeah. Stephanie says that this is so cool. So we have established that she is a liar, but does say that the house is so nice that she is tempted to pack up and move to Florida herself. Go for it, get off the screen. We now see on the big screen footage of police cars travelling along highways, but I didn't hear the context of why this was being shown.
It's the entries.
Oh, okay.
In a van.
Right, cool. Oh, okay. God, that's over the top, isn't it?
Well.
Stephanie informs us that there have been over 340,000 competition entries to win the house, which I've just now realised is more entries than people that actually bought the show. So they're like, yeah, I'll enter. I'm not watching your shit, though.
Yeah,
I don't care if I win. However, she's cut off by the music of Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
I never thought, actually, that I'd be grateful for his music.
Funny enough, I'm unsure if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm leaning towards the latter. Match number 2. Jeff Jarrett and the Roadie versus Razor Ramon in a handicap match.
Yes.
Holly, I need detailed thoughts of what went through your head on this. We know you have very strong, raw, animalistic opinions about Razor Ramon and just this type of matchup for him. What did you think?
Him, fine.
In every sense.
Fine.
In every sense, baby.
Jeff Jarrett just does nothing for my interest.
But he's a country music legend.
I don't care. I honestly don't care.
Because he's with his baby tonight. Multi-platinum.
Roadie, just not yet.
Oh, you didn't
It's
know?
not yet. He's at this point absolutely not yet. So I just thought, great, I'm gonna basically watch Razor just get absolutely pummeled.
Well, I'm pretty sure, could be wrong, at the WrestleMania it was Double J against Razor Ramon, and the match ended in a disqualification. Does that sound right to you? So going up against two of them, well, surely he can't win.
No, absolutely not.
Guess we'll find out. As we see the Intercontinental Champion Jeff Jarrett and the roadie make their way to the ring, we unfortunately hear the voice of McMahon tell us that on the phone live is the 1-2-3 Kid. God help us!
If you have managed to decipher anything that is mentioned in this phone call, I'll be impressed, because I've put he's apparently on the phone, but is he speaking into a sponge? Because I can't hear nothing.
That is fair. The Kid is out with an injury, which is why he cannot be here tonight to watch his friends back. Meanwhile, Razor Ramon is working through an injured knee, so what's your fucking excuse?
True. So true.
The Kid tells us that he's watching from home live, and he sounds so muffled that I believe he's actually eating the telephone as he talks.
Like he's underwater.
He's like, like, oh, cheers, thank you very much, you illiterate fool. Whilst I may not love the character of Double J, I've always enjoyed the outfits, especially the glow-in-the-dark glasses and hats.
Yes. Yes.
Big fan.
Yeah, I liked it.
Big fan.
I liked it.
Kid says that he wants to beat Double J so bad he can taste it, and anybody who has the internet can confirm that that is not the worst thing he has tasted during his life.
Oh my god.
What?
That's horrendous.
Oh, okay, well, fine. I thought it was quite in it. Anyway, we now go to a split screen as we see Razor Ramon standing backstage in front of the In Your House logo, where Vince decides to conduct a little pre-match interview. Just going to throw this your way briefly.
Yeah.
Drinking it in.
Yeah.
Yeah?
He's a tall drink of water.
He is a tall drink of water.
Yeah.
He's what, 6'6", round about that mark?
Just big, beefy man.
Slab of sex is what he is. Look at it,
God.
dripping.
He has,
Tremendous.
He's got the good hair going.
He's got the sodden. He's got the curl there as well.
Yeah.
Man. And you can't say man. Well, there's someone he has a little interview with later on. Oh, I will apologise, but I'm probably going to try the impression. So, I don't like these like little pre-match interviews because I like having them segmented in a particular way. So in my head, the match should start.
Yes.
And then I've said that the
Agreed.
match is starting, and then you go to something else. I'm like, you fucker. Anyway, that's fine. That's just a little OCD thing for me to deal with, so nothing else that anyone needs to worry about. Razor confirms that this is the first handicap match he has had that has been advertised. However, it has been 2-on-1 since day one, mate. So even the man himself says that the 1-2-3 Kid has been as useful as a chocolate teapot. So literally, Kid's like, oh, I've always been... And he's like, no, it's always been 2-on-1. You useless git. He then contradicts himself by saying the Kid has not let him down, man, and says that he should think about nothing other than getting his neck better. Razor doesn't care about the gold on this occasion, and that all he wants to do is beat both of his opponents down. He signs off with a happy Mother's Day, man, before heading to the ring. Holly, for me, this is unquestionably, to use a Vince term, Razor Ramon's peak.
Yes.
The music, the look,
Yep.
the swagger.
Yes.
Is he the best in-ring wrestler? No.
No, but
the whole presentation,
weirdly doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah.
Because he
he just embodies that
everything
gimmick.
yeah.
Yes. Really good. And like I said, there's a natural coolness there.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
Always looks unbothered.
True, and someone who we'll see later in the show tries to give off the same vibe, and it doesn't work for me. Diesel tries to give the nothing phases me kind of thing,
I
but
remember, yeah.
it just doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't hit the same. Whereas
But not in comparison to Razor. Go.
I just don't think it lands full stop. Same with Sean. When Sean's trying to be cool, doesn't work for me.
Okay.
Whereas Razor's just, I don't need to try. I
just
am exactly.
Okay.
The bad guy swaggers down to the ring as Doc confirms that this is the first handicap match on WWF pay-per-view. In the ring, Razor gets his usual pyro, which is always on point.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking love that pyro, and I wish more people used it now. It's the same way as, like, do you remember the old Randy Orton waterfall pyro that used to come down? Love that.
Yeah.
Christian had that as well for a bit. Just
Yes.
give me, although I didn't like it for Christian, funnily enough, but
Oh, okay.
love it.
Yeah.
Need more of it, for sure.
There must be a reason why they don't do so much anymore.
Probably cost would be my guess, but then again,
They got the money.
They do got the money. Yeah, Razor hands his clothes to a ring attendant before warning him with a stern finger not to lose it. He then removes the toothpick and throws it towards the roadie.
Good.
Double J, look, I always think, mind the eyes.
Yeah.
What do you mean? You shrug your
It's a
shoulders.
toothpick. It's not like a dart.
Okay, so you take a toothpick to the eye.
No, but I'm saying if he's just literally just like flicking it at someone,
Yeah, that
it's
would-
not like he's standing there and aiming. And
No,
going,
true, but
right,
if
eyes
that-
open, lad, come
I'd be fucking pissed if that caught me in the eye. I'd be throwing a potato, is all I'm saying.
At Razor.
Yeah, 100%. I don't care if he'd kick my ass. If you throw a toothpick in my eye, I'm swinging at you. Well, no, not if he does it and it just hits me like it's supposed to. But if it caught me straight in the eye, yeah, I'll be getting knocked out. But I would get a swing in. I'd get a
You'd be
swing in.
blind in one eye and knocked out.
Yeah, but he would have some sort of bruising or a busted lip at least. I'll go, he's 6'6" and trained. Look at me. I beat him now. The bad guy, no, we've done that. Double J, yes, Double J looks to capitalise, but Ramon is aware of the danger and turns around in the nick of time. All three men are in the ring, and McMahon is clear to point out that only one of Double J and the roadie can be in the ring at any given moment. After a brief discussion, Double J signals that he will start things off. As the two men circle, the crowd began to elevate the noise as Roddy climbs the turnbuckles to alert Razor to the danger. Not the roadie alerting him to the danger, the crowd are alerting Razor to the roadie as a danger. As he turns to address the interloper, good word, he is hit from behind as this match gets underway. A number of right hands land from the Intercontinental Champion, but his whip is reversed and he runs straight into a right hand. Leapfrog attempt finds little success as Razor slams the brakes on and uncorks a right hand of his own before a spinning variant sends Double J out of the ring. The bad guy is fired up and the heels have to drop to the floor to regroup. McMahon mentions that we have yet to see the roadie in in-ring competition, so have yet to learn how good of a wrestler he is. Interesting point.
Oh, okay.
Jarrett returns to the ring and beckons the bad guy on before connecting with a kick to the gut and a series of right hands. Face first into the turnbuckle goes, or as it's got here, the turnbuckle goes Razor, and he is sent quickly into a second. Whip sends Razor to the ropes, but he holds on and therefore avoids the dropkick attempt from Double J. When Jarrett returns his attention, he finds himself clotheslined over the top and onto the floor. Before Razor can capitalise, he's pulled underneath the bottom rope but prevents himself from being driven face first into the ring apron and instead returns the favour to Jarrett. Double J is calling for a timeout as he backs away and this presents... let's read that again. Double J is calling for a timeout as he backs away and this presents enough of a distraction to allow the roadie to run from behind and strike Razor in the back of the head. Holly's booing. Yep. Doc mocks Razor's voice.
Ooh.
Doc mocks? What? Doc mocks raise his voice. It must be Razor's voice.
Yeah.
Doc mocks Razor's voice by going, "Mine,"
Yeah.
which does not make me hate him any less. The action returns to the ring, where the human barcode whips Ramon into the buckle hard not once but twice. Enziguri lands, and now we get the famous Double J strut in the middle of the ring. Good heel, though.
Yeah.
Whip reversal sees Double J duck a clothesline, but jump right into the arms of Razor, who connects with a sack of shit and makes the cover, which the roadie is quick to break up. Tag to the roadie, who trips Razor to the ropes and lands a clothesline that puts him down. Second whip results in Ramon getting a headbutt to the midsection before being yanked down to the canvas by his hair. Thought you were going to boo that, but just a shake of the head on that occasion.
Yeah, no.
Running elbow drop scores, as does the following pair that landed in quick succession.
They bore me.
Yes. The roadie takes a moment to dance like a white girl wasted.
Nope. It's awful. It's so cringe. So cringe. Stop, honestly. So gross.
So yeah, my take on it was the roadie takes a moment to dance like he is white girl wasted as the crowd shower him in boos, and rightly so, I think.
It's just grim.
It's not good. Double J back in the action, but his whip is reversed and his sunset flip pin is blocked with a right to the top of the head. Razor drops down into a pin attempt of his own, but this is also countered into a pin from Jarrett, resulting in multiple near falls. Back elbow puts the bad guy down. Suplex attempt is blocked into a small package, which gets a 2 count. Clothesline, that would disappoint you, wouldn't it, for Razor? Yeah. Clothesline from Double J allows him enough time to tag the roadie back in, who continues to stomp away on the downed opponent. Right hand stagger the bad guy, but he begins firing back with some of his own until he's dropped from behind by Jarrett. Tag made to Double J, and he climbs to the second rope where he leaps into a punch to the stomach. Wild right hand is ducked and Razor connects with a massive atomic drop before looking for the Razor's edge. Classic Razor spot here, too near the ropes as Double J elevates him over the top and to the outside.
Mm-hmm.
On the floor, Razor clutches his injured knee whilst the roadie climbs to the second rope and takes flight, connecting with a clothesline to the floor.
Sure.
What?
Just annoyed. I think it's the match setup. This then starts to annoy me.
Okay.
Because it's just unfair.
But it works, though.
It does
It's
work.
supposed to make you feel this way.
Exactly.
Fantastic shot of the bad guy's package, as I'm sure Holly would agree.
I put, it's a devastating manoeuvre.
Brilliant. The Hills celebrate prematurely in the ring, but Razor just about breaks the referee's count of 10. Double J heads to the top rope and connects with a flying crossbody, but somehow Ramon rolls through into a near fall of his own. He got him! Oh, no, he didn't. Drop kick puts Razor down for a count of 2. Whip is reversed by Ramon. Are you right?
It just tickles me how, if I think about it, no wonder McMahon's heart and everything's always been under pressure, because he goes from one extreme to another.
He got him! Oh, no, he didn't.
It's so funny.
It's like just a flip of a coin,
When
isn't
you
it?
think about it logically, it goes from 100 to like 2.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
Oh, yeah, he got it. No, he didn't.
It just makes me smile.
Dropkick puts Razor down for a count of 2. A whip is reversed, but Ramon ducks too early and eats a neck breaker. Instead of a pin, Double J flexes for the fans. The bad guy is choked over the middle rope with a knee, but Jarrett misses on the charge and crotches himself on the middle rope. Both men are down as some Chad in the front row tries to encourage the fans to cheer. Side headlock sees Double J push off and drop down, but with the velocity Razor was moving at, they collide heads and fall to the canvas motionless.
Was it at this point? I know when we watched the old stuff, the ropes are loose.
Yes.
Here, they still a bit loose, right?
Mhm.
Because he's so tall and he moves so fast that at one point I was like, he genuinely could just actually send himself flying over the top rope here.
Yeah, so I guess it's on a case-by-case basis because you're never going to tighten it the exact same tautness, but around this time the ropes were still fairly loose, I'd say. It was WCW where they had the cable going through them where they were tight, so WWE didn't have that same kind of setup. So yeah, still relatively loose.
Okay.
We see that Razor has Kid written on his boot, as if Sean Waltman is no longer with us, and sometimes during these shows Holly wishes he was. Mike Chioda begins the count, but both men return to their feet. Ramon is whipped off the ropes but ducks a right hand and connects with a back suplex. Both men are down once again. Tag is eventually made to the roadie, who leaps from the second rope and connects with a flying nothing, but this still leads to a 2 count. Lazy reverse chinlock applied and the bad guy looks completely fucked.
He does.
The fans begin clapping with encouragement and Razor does fight his way back to his feet. He elbows his way free before hitting the ropes and making Roddy pay for ducking too early by slamming his face into the canvas. Tag back to Jarrett, but his running right hand is blocked and Ramon scores with one of his own, not once but twice, and by the 4th, Double J hits the canvas. Corner whip sends Double J face first into the roadie, and now it is the roadie's turn to eat right hands. Holly's kind of getting more engaged in this.
Yeah, I was happier by this point.
Second rope super back suplex scores on the roadie, and I'll be honest, it looks like under those joggers that man has an erection. Unacceptable. I swear to God, go back and look.
It did look like he had a bit of a semi.
It did, yes. Razor signals that this one is over, but finds his knee kicked from behind by Double J before he can dole any further punishment out on the roadie. Figure 4 leg lock attempt is blocked as Ramon kicks Double J into the unsuspecting roadie on the apron, sending him crashing into the guardrail. The bad guy just about manages to elevate Double J onto his shoulders, where he connects with the Razor's edge, hook of the leg for the 1, 2, 3. He may not be able to beat Double J when it matters, but on this night your victor by pinfall is Razor Ramon. As Razor goes to celebrate, he just about spies Roddy looking to land a chop block, which he avoids at the last moment. Big right hand for Roddy, and now he's looking for the Razor's edge on him too. Before it can land, Jarrett lands a chop block of his own and begins dropping elbows on the injured knee. Figure 4 leg lock applied as the bell furiously rings and Holly is furious.
Yep.
Doc Hendricks mocks the fact that 123 Kid is not here to help, but I tell you who is here, Holly. Aldo fucking Montoya. Holly, do you know who Aldo Montoya is?
No, didn't they call him the
Portuguese Man of War.
Yeah.
Yep. So, Aldo Montoya in the WWF was nicknamed the Portuguese Man of War, but perhaps you would better recognise him as none other than Justin Credible.
Stop it. Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yep. So, Justin Credible with hair and a jockstrap on his face.
Oh my God.
Montoya leaps over the top rope to land a kick to the face of the roadie, and after a few choice right hands, he levels him with a flying clothesline. The momentum doesn't last long as Jarrett attacks him from behind, and both he and the roadie unload rights and lefts before tossing Aldo over the top rope. Nasty looking landing that as well. Back to the knee of Razor, and now it's somebody else's turn to make the save. The crowd don't know, neither do commentary from the sounds of things, but Holly, you know, Savio Vega. Vega has right hands for both Jarrett and the roadie, and even connects with a double noggin knocker before clotheslining roadie over the top. Holly's a happy girl.
Happy.
Body slam and mounted rights to Double J, and more punches for the lackey. And more punchier it's got here. And more punches for the lackey. A sea of officials separates Savio from saving the day, but it looked to have been enough when all was said and done.
Yeah.
2 police officers escort Savio back up the aisleway as this match is finally in the books. Holly, what did you think of it? What did you score it?
I actually, surprisingly, enjoyed that.
Okay. I am actually genuinely surprised
And
by
I
that.
didn't think I would.
And I don't think it'll all have been Razor.
Yeah, annoying. It's a bit annoying. Because it's one of those things, isn't it? When I have it in my head that I really don't like someone, I will watch them, and my brain intentionally is like, do not enjoy this. Do not enjoy this. But I did. Could have done without the roadie, I'll be honest. It wasn't really needed, but it made sense because
I argue the opposite. I think he was very much needed for this.
But I liked it. I gave it 2.75.
My score, 2.75.
Oh.
So slightly less than the Hakushi Bret Hart match.
Higher.
Was it? 2.5, 2.6? Yeah, it was. Yeah, fair enough. The reason I would argue that Roddy was very much needed in this, other than it being a handicap match, was that because he was an unknown quantity, him being there wasn't necessarily an advantage, because it could have been a disadvantage if he was crap.
Yeah.
He wasn't bad, but he
No,
was
he wasn't.
definitely a lesser competitor in the way it was
At
it
that point,
unfolded. And because of that, it made sense when even though, funny enough, he wasn't the one that was pinned. You'd think that it would be Roddy getting pinned in that, but he was obviously on the apron, knocked off towards the end, and then that's when Jarrett was put away. So I thought it worked pretty well. The pacing was fine.
It's good.
The one thing I don't like, and it's as much as I will compliment Razor Ramon, and I have done and I will continue to do, I love the Razor's Edge. I love the SOS throw.
Yes.
Do other things other than right hands.
Yeah, I know. I think even commentary say we're not seeing a lot of wrestling from Razor here.
Yeah,
and it is true.
And it's always the right hand. The right hands look good, but he always goes back to it. And every time I think of a him versus Jeff Jarrett match, I always think right hands, right hands, right hands, right hands. And that was the thing that really held them back at WrestleMania, if you remember.
Yes, true.
Where we both struggled with that match.
Yeah. I mean, I've obviously seen matches with Razor in which have been far, far superior. So he's got it in him.
Shawn Michaels.
Without a doubt. Mm-hmm. But, yeah. But
also, Shawn sells Razor's punches like no one else.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
No one else.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good. So far, not doing too bad score-wise.
No.
Let's see if it continues.
Sure.
We now go to a stylised video package depicting 2 men battling on horseback with swords. Mm-hmm. As the fight evolves, we hear the narrator mention the King of the Ring, and apparently this catches the ears of the men at war, who both look back quizzically at the camera and repeat, King of the Ring? We now flip between stars of the WWF on a television screen and the cast of actors stopping their game of war and running to a medieval castle room to watch the real action unfold. Real action. As all good fans do, they imitate the brawling at home. With the VT at an end, the cameras now take us to a stairwell where we see Jerry Lawler arguing his case with Jack Tunney, saying he wants his match to start right now. Tunney is a president, but he is a king. Good line. Mm-hmm. After Tunney explains the position, Lawler continues to argue his case to no avail before we head to a promotion package for the upcoming WWF title match. Now, I'll be honest, Holly, I was like, wait, they're doing the title match now?
Yeah, I thought that. I think that's what I said to you the other day, wasn't it?
You did.
And then I carried on. I was like, oh, okay.
And it wasn't actually a title promotion piece. It was... Anyway, we'll cover it. So the imposing figure of Psycho Sid is shown from a low-angle camera shot to really emphasise his sheer height, and this quickly transitions to footage of him destroying opponents in the ring. Holly will have flinched at one particular moment that sees Sid nearly drop Bam Bam on his head during a powerbomb attempt, but it's still an impressive feat. We go to black and white footage of Sid turning on the man he was supposed to protect in Shawn Michaels, beating him down and causing him to be stretchered away. Holly, stretcher!
Honestly, I knew that I would see at least one in this bloody thing.
But it makes sense as well, because Sid's whole thing for a while was putting people out and them getting stretchered away. And if you remember his involvement in ECW, where it was up against Spike Dudley, he came out with a stretcher on his way to the ring.
I do remember.
I'm impressed that you remember, to be honest.
Yeah, it's because I don't bloody like him, that's why.
Fine. One spot I actually really like is Sid running through the in-ring pyro of Razor Ramon from behind to clobber him.
Yeah,
really good.
I did like that.
Really good. Don't think I've seen that done before, but I'm a fan. Well, turns out, Holly, that was just a promo for Sid and not the WWF title match. Still, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
After briefly stopping off with Vince and Doc on commentary, we are sent to Barry Didinsky, who is standing in the fans with a Bret Hart shirt. One size fits all, apparently, at extra large. This suddenly becomes a shopping channel segment. Until Barry says that the fans want to know if Bret Hart is okay, as they saw him limp away earlier. Vince says he doesn't know exactly, but never mind any of that, because here comes the first competitor for the next match.
I did like the one size fits all, but it's an XL.
Yeah.
So it doesn't fit everyone.
So it doesn't fit the really fat bastards. Everyone else can get in it. What did you think of the shirt in general?
Yeah, fine.
It strikes me as
colourful.
It is colourful. It was a Bret Hart. It was kind of front and back printed.
Oh, they definitely depicted that it was front and back.
Oh, very much so.
All over printing.
I would call that a wife pyjama top, because that is a
big baggy t-shirt. Yeah.
Yep, I have lost many a t-shirt to this over the years. So fully understand why there would be a market for that. And to be fair, the people in the crowd, there are a few women that had it on as well.
Yeah, fine.
The next match.
Yep.
Mabel with Mo versus Adam Bomb in a King of the Ring qualifying match. What are your thoughts right off the bat?
About who? Well, I obviously didn't know who. I know Mabel, but I know them as
Viscera.
Exactly.
Or Big Daddy V.
No, never. Never. Obviously didn't know much about Adam Bomb. It's not ugly though, is he?
Do not tell me this is the first time you've seen him.
When did I see him before?
Oh, I don't know. WrestleMania 10, where he was there.
Really?
Yeah, he was in the match.
With who?
He came out and...
Was he Adam Bomb in it?
Yes, and he got crushed by someone.
Oh, so it was a crush match.
He came out, I think it was Earthquake.
Oh.
Do you remember
That's
that?
probably why I've
it was like
deleted it from my memory.
Was it WrestleMania 10? Yes, I think it was. And they just had that really weird...
Oh, yeah, I
attacks
remember.
him from behind, Earthquake still wins, nothing comes of it.
Yes, which is why, I'll be honest, it won't have stayed in my brain.
Adam Bomb, not an ugly man. Still going today is Adam Bomb.
Yeah.
And aged pretty well.
Yeah.
He would also become one half of the tag team in WCW known as Chronic, alongside Crush.
Yep.
Crush obviously no longer with us.
No.
He was never with us personally, but with the living. And they were really quite a dominant force in WCW. Went to the WWE when the invasion started. Had a tag team title match against Kane and The Undertaker. The match sucked big dick, and they were gone.
And that was it. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, because I saw online that he's got the trademarks for his tag, like the tag names and stuff. But I also saw that he's part of, the mass group of people that were in that lawsuit against WWE.
And as far as I remember, he's also available on Cameo.
Oh, is he?
He is, yes. So maybe we'll make a reach out to Adam Bomb at some point. A very serious-looking Mabel lumbers his way to the ring. No rapping from the men on Mission Boys. They are all business heels now. His opponent and fan favourite, Adam Bomb, now makes his way to the ring, and Holly pauses.
Look, come on. This show doesn't give me much. It gives
Razor Ramon.
Gives me Razor.
Brett, not an ugly man.
No.
Brett is. Do you know what?
He's not ugly.
Out of everyone, I'd rather look like Brett.
He's not ugly at all, but he's just not for me.
Razor pushes him close, but for me, I'd rather look like Brett.
Really?
Yeah.
So it would go.
He's more human looking.
Top would obviously be Razor. Second.
I thought you were normally top.
This guy. Don't know. It's been so long, I don't remember.
And I wouldn't know from first-hand experience. So, oh well, day is young. Nice bit of in-ring pyro for Bomb, which I must admit to not remembering, as it mushroom clouds its way to the top of the arena.
Clever. Quite
culturally insensitive, or just insensitive in general, but nice.
It is, but it is clever.
Guess the Bomb Squad weren't on that particular incident, eh? One fan is holding up a sign that says Adam Bomb, King of the Ring, with the same enthusiasm that I have when queuing. He's literally just got an A4 bit of paper,
Just wafting it.
nothing exciting on it,
Oh yeah.
plain text, and he's holding it up.
Pan, like
Deadpan face,
yeah.
no emotion. It's like someone went, "Can you hold this so we can film it?"
Oh,
Fine.
maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Or here's a biro and a sheet of A4 paper. Just write something.
Well, either way, it just looked depressing. Dangerous Danny Davis is your ref for this one.
Yes, I bloody thought it was him.
Yes, it was.
Oh.
And as he deals the instructions to both men, Mo shoves Adam Bomb, who lays him out with a right hand. Mabel sees the opportunity and begins clubbing away. Vince isn't sure if the match is underway, and it would seem he was correct, as only now does the bell sound as Mabel connects with a corner avalanche crushing bomb. Corner whip, and Mabel now has a full head of steam but crashes into the turnbuckles as Adam sidesteps out of harm's way. Rights from the leader of the Bomb Squad, and a flying shoulder tackle sends the big man out of the ring between the second and top rope, aka a beautiful manoeuvre. Impressive slingshot crossbody to the floor lands for Bomb, who lands a couple of rights before returning the action to the ring. From the apron, a slingshot clothesline knocks the big man down, but not even enough for a 1 count. Bomb heads to the top rope and scores with another clothesline, but again Mabel kicks out around the 1 mark. Corner whip is reversed, and as Bomb staggers back out, Mabel connects with a falling, spinning heel kick. Of course, this is referred to as what a manoeuvre. Whip sends Bomb to the ropes, but he ducks a clothesline, but finds himself caught mid-air in a crossbody attempt and driven into the canvas with the world's strongest slam, hook of the leg, and we get the 1, 2, 3. Mabel raises his arm in the air, having qualified for the King of the Ring tournament. Right. Adam Bomb, we've seen him twice. Both times he's been squashed by a big chunky lad.
And he's not a small guy. This show is actually packed with some big guys because he's 6'6".
It's almost like the WWF had a thing for big guys in this era.
Oh yeah.
They were still in the hangover phase, so it's the new generation, but they still liked bigger guys, but naturally big guys. So, like, as in ones that
Height.
haven't been... Yes, but also ones that haven't been infused with...
Juiced.
Exactly. But also, being a big fatty also helps. So Yokozuna, big guy.
Yes, that just does not.
I don't know how tall he is, but I don't think Yokozuna's particularly small. But
No, it doesn't
I would-
look short.
I
even
would
in stature,
guess-
does he?
I might have like half an inch or an inch in height on him. I don't know if he's over 6 foot.
Right.
But obviously, he's just colossal.
Yeah.
So, Viscera, tall and
Yes.
a fatty.
Yes.
Sorry, Mabel,
Well, yeah.
Mo.
same thing.
fat and short.
Yeah.
So it's just it is what it is.
Yeah.
Holly,
Yeah.
what did you think of this match?
It was awful. But it was
Okay.
fine because it was quick. I understand the point of it. It's just to show.
Okay.
It is what it is. 0.25. It came, it went. I say it was awful. I didn't hate it.
I don't think it was.
But to me, it just didn't give me anything that I cared about.
I was expecting awful, and I got more than awful, so I probably over-egged the end score. Not mad, I went 1.5 because
Right.
it served a purpose. The moves in the match were pretty good. Adam Bomb slingshots himself out the
Yeah.
ring. He does a top rope clothesline. Mabel catches him, drops him in, cartwheel kick that he does.
Yeah.
It, for what it is, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, it's not a 5-star classic. It's not a high-end level match.
It just didn't give me anything that I cared about.
But it's what I'd consider to be a top-level squash match.
Sure. Yeah.
So I actually thought it was perfectly serviceable. The length, perfect.
Oh, yeah.
I expected to come out with 0 stars, 0.25. But when I saw this, I went, 1.5.
Okay.
We now go back to the Superstar hotline, and when the mulleted Todd Pettingale is standing... Sorry. We go back to the Superstar hotline area, where the mulleted Todd Pettingale is standing beside the mulleted Razor Ramon. The 90s. Todd asks Razor to fill him in on everything that went down after his match concluded. Razor informs that he has a scoop for him, and to say hello to Savio Vega. Mine. The bad guy introduces him as one of the biggest stars in the Caribbean, but taps him on the chin and says, Chico, I don't recognise you, mate. Patronising, I thought, personally, but there you go. Savio says he couldn't help but interfere when he saw the double teaming going on, as that's not his way to fight. Vega says that nobody will mess with... Great typo. I'm just going to say it as it is. Vega says that nobody will mess with Ham and Razor Ramon. Him. Ham, yeah, why not? Razor says he has fought against Savio in the past, but he's glad he's on his side now. As Todd goes to sign off the piece, Razor and Savio begin discussing God knows what, but that is all we have time for here, as Todd informs us that the Smoking Guns are already in the ring for their match. Holly, just talk to me, wax lyrical if you could, about the Smoking Guns.
I mean, we know how I feel. We know how I feel about them. It's a good gimmick, and they are. Yeah, it looks good. I'm here for it.
You prefer Bart to Billy, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how sad were you when Butterbean put him on his arse at WrestleMania?
I know.
Oh dear.
But no, I really liked this gimmick. I thought it worked really well. Not just because of the cowboy thing. But
I'll be honest, I agree. I don't think that I had an issue with it. It's
No.
when you've got like 15 cowboy teams and like, what are we doing?
Oh yeah.
A cowboy battle royale.
Ooh, all right.
Who wins the cowboy battle royale?
So everyone dressed as a cowboy.
So everyone who's ever played like a cowboy type character. So we've got Blackjack Lanza, Blackjack Mulligan, JBL technically when he
No.
did the reformed
Absolutely not.
Blackjacks with Barry Windham, who was the other one. We got
Gosh.
Outlaw Ron Bass, had a kind of cowboy vibe to him.
Mm-hmm.
Bret Hart, when he first came into the WWF, was called Cowboy Bret Hart.
This, I tell you what, put that in a segment for another show. Give me some time to do some solid internet research, and I'll let you know.
Okay. Do we have like? Does Country Bumpkins count as cowboy themed as well, or does it have to be?
No, let's specific.
Anyone who wears a cowboy hat, is that okay? Enter Jim Ross.
I was gonna say.
By God!
Yeah, fine, sure.
Shawn Michaels, he's wearing the cowboy hat now.
Shawn Michaels would definitely be in there.
Okay, fine. Well, I
Yeah.
think I know who's winning. Razor did cowboy back in the AWA a little bit with the tash. Okay. He never. I don't think he wore the hat, or maybe he did actually. Dusty Rhodes used to wear a cowboy hat quite often.
Yeah.
There's enough to choose from. That is an interesting point.
Yeah.
One to consider.
Yeah, let me have a little time thinking about that one. I'll come back to it at a later date.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. I'll hold you to that. So the Smoking Guns versus Owen Hart and Yokozuna for the WWF Tag Team titles in a rematch again from WrestleMania, where Yokozuna and Owen Hart won.
Yes.
Were you thrilled for this match?
No. And there's only one reason why.
Yokozuna?
Yes.
Yeah, Holly hates fat wrestlers.
No, that's
No?
not what I'm saying.
No, she doesn't.
It's just
She loves-
not entertaining.
She loves big wrestlers like Otis.
Yeah, I do actually think he's
Oh, you do
brilliant.
like Otis?
I do
Okay,
like
fine.
Otis.
Okay.
Yokozuna just annoys me because it's like, for me, it's like Andre later on.
Right.
Everything is so laboured and slow. And I get it. You are carrying around like 600 pounds of extra.
Baggage.
Yeah, but
I didn't know where you were going with that.
boring.
Yeah, it's a shame because he genuinely was really quite talented, especially given his size.
Yeah.
But man couldn't walk to the ring without blowing out his arse.
No.
It's a real shame, like genuinely a real shame, because he was good, and everyone who worked with him, apart from saying he would blow up, said he was so safe with everything he did,
Yeah.
like dropping legs, the banzai drop, all this kind of stuff, perfect. And he was quick. He had a quick first step about him, and even when he's bigger, you can see he's got that in him, but he's just hampered by sausages and turkey arses and deep fried chicken and mayonnaise.
It does nothing to pique my interest.
I still want to engage with him, so I always go, please let this be one of your good ones.
Right.
Please let this be one of your good ones.
Like open-minded.
Yeah, well, it's more wishful thinking,
Yeah.
if I'm being honest. Been a while, Holly, since we've seen a good old cowboy on this show. As Billy and Bart finish their entrance, we can see that Jerry Lawler is marching his way down to the ring, still protesting about not being able to start his match with the Hitman. Weirdly, didn't find this as annoying as I thought I would. I know that wasn't the case for you. Lawler tries to climb the stairs to enter the ring, but is walked back up the aisle by Tony Gurria. As he's most of the way back towards the entrance, he walks past the defending tag team champions in Owen Hart and Yokozuna alongside their managers Jim Cornette and Mr. Fuji. I love Yokozuna's entrance theme as well. There's something, it's like a calming noise, but it's still imposing.
Sure.
And it works, and it's very different in terms of like how it's structured musically to Psycho Sid's entrance theme, but gives the same ominous. I don't know, maybe that's just because I associate it with Yokozuna.
Maybe.
But it feels like the calm before the storm.
Okay.
That whereas Psycho Sid is like Psycho, which goes with the name obviously. But again, we'll get to him later on. Big Boy Yokes looks to be out of breath as he nears the ring. Meanwhile, backstage we can see Brett icing his knee in the locker room area. Doesn't bode well for later on. Doc Hendricks points out that this is the first pay-per-view that Owen Hart has walked in as a champion when his brother is without a title. Okay. Interesting little tidbit. Vince makes a quick plug that this is the new generation as the bell sounds so this title match can get underway. Before they begin, Yokozuna takes the moment to wave the Japanese flag, which kicks the fans into life with a USA chant. Yokes and Billy to start this one off with a lock-up that Billy turns into a side headlock. Push-off and shoulder tackle knocks the challenger down. Whip sees Billy slide between the legs and land 2 quick drop kicks that sway the big man before cinching in an arm wringer. Tag to Bart, who scores with a double axe handle from the top but is soon put on his back courtesy of a big headbutt. Tag made to Owen, who lands a right hand before the dreaded back rake. That made me laugh. First corner whip sees, I don't know why, Owen just doing goofy shit makes me laugh because I know he's such a prankster.
Okay.
So I feel like I know that, like when he's doing the woo stuff like that, I just know he's trying to get people to break character and stuff. First corner whip sees Bart hit the buckles, but he reverses the second and press slams Owen up and down when he stumbles back out of the corner. Holly likey.
Yeah, impressive.
Yeah. Lovely drop kick puts Owen back down, and now he tags in Billy. Suplex drop kick combo leads to a 1-2. No, leads to a 2 count, in fact. Billy catches the leg of Owen but gets turned inside out on the enziguri that lands a moment later. All thanks to Mr. Gunn getting distracted by Mr. Fuji. Mr. Fuji will investigate. Yokozuna, every time I think of Mr. Fuji, I go back to that Saturday night's main event where he was lying down backstage with an ice pack on his hat, going, oh! So good. Yokozuna gets tagged back in and a whip sees Owen drop down, causing Billy to run right into a clothesline from the big man. Torrent of overhand blows to the top of the head keep the challenger down, and having seen the dreaded backrake, now we get the even more dreaded trapezius nerve hold after a snapmare.
Oh, boring.
This is what Holly was dreading.
Yep.
Oh, fortunately, not long.
Thank God.
Owen now the legal man, and he connects with a very good neck breaker that gets a near fall. Whip sees Owen duck too early, and Billy leaps over with a sunset flip for a near fall of his own. Spinning heel kick from Owen sends Billy down to the outside, and with the referee distracted, Yokes looks to take advantage. The big man drops off the apron and charges, but is too slow and only connects face first with the ring post.
Take a drink.
Nah, you've changed the rules. You said someone had to drive you into it.
No,
but you
I
just
don't
want to
care.
drink in a Yokes match?
Yeah.
Okay. Which, of course, you can't because it's still Lent.
No.
Sad times, sad times. Billy returns to the ring but is run face first into the top turnbuckles before being whipped to the opposite corner. Owen charges but finds nobody home on a corner dropkick attempt. I'm giving him credit there because it was a running nothing, really.
Yeah.
Owen charges but finds nobody home on a corner dropkick attempt, which is literally what I've just put, so what the fuck was I doing before that? No, that was it, sorry, I've just read the same bit again. I thought I wrote the line twice. Hot tag to Bart, who scores with a pair of southpaw punches before dropping Owen with a back elbow off a whip. Big body slam gets a 2 count, and you can see the concern in the corner of the champions with Yokozuna still out of contention. Corner whip sees Owen go sternum first into the buckles, much like his brother, which is never not fantastic, and he blindly walks backwards into a back suplex. We can hear a whiny Jim Cornette ask Yoko, "Are you okay?" But we do not hear a response. That's what it sounded like to me. Bart begins signalling that something big is coming, and Doc calls him a stupid Texan. Makes sense, when the Freebirds worked in WCCW, they were very much anti-Texans in their feud with the Von Erich family. Billy is waved in, and they connect with a lovely back suplex neckbreaker combination, which was actually at one point a variant of a 3D, which the Dudleys used to use occasionally. But Jack Doan is quick to shoo Billy back to the apron. Bart hooks the leg, and we get the 1, 2, he got him! No, he didn't. Bart hits the ropes and looks to score with a crossbody, but Owen ducks, sending Bart sailing out of the ring between the ropes in a great spot.
Yeah.
That could have gone so wrong,
Yes.
but looks about as good as you would hope it would.
Agreed.
Cornette jumps up on the apron where he eats a right hand from Billy, but meanwhile Yokozuna drops the leg on the floor to Bart before rolling him dead weight into the ring. With Billy on the apron and not paying full attention, Owen makes the cover, and we do get the 1, 2, 3. Owen Hart and Yokozuna retain the tag team titles by pinfall. Before the champions leave, Yokes looks to take a cheeky swipe at Bart Gunn, but nothing comes of it, and they make their way backstage.
Yes.
Holly, what do you think of the match?
Oh, I did enjoy it. I just wish. I just feel like I'm bad-mouthing the same person over again. If I could replace Yokozuna and have someone else in
Bulldog?
there, I just think it would be good.
I'll be honest, because of the involvement he had in the match,
Yeah.
he didn't hold it back for me.
It was fine, but it's just like the hold. It's like, yeah, we know you're doing this because you're tired. Like, I get it.
Normally
Thankfully, it wasn't that long.
Yeah, it was like 4 seconds, if
Yeah.
that. So it was quick. So I agree with you, because he's done it to an excessive length in other shows that we've watched.
God, yeah.
But his involvement in this, especially giving him the breather on the floor, fine.
Yeah.
I actually thought it was fine. So for me, it was 2 stars. But how did you score it?
1.75.
Okay, so we're near enough the
Which-
same point.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, a Yoko match is never going to get higher from me because I just can't get past it, and that's a me thing.
Yeah, I think
It's just
Well,
never
potentially-
gonna get high scores.
potentially a Royal Rumble, maybe, that he features in, but he's not the main
Okay.
participant, or not the sole focus, I should say. I'm trying to remember what we scored him in his WrestleMania 9 match with Bret Hart, but that would probably have been the highest.
Yeah.
But
Just I don't know. I watch a match like this, and I'm like, oh, right. It's got the potential of a match that I really like, but because obviously he's in it, he's a different type of wrestler.
he is.
It doesn't give me everything I would need. So.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. And to be fair,
And
our
it never will.
scores were near the same point anyway.
Yep.
I'm hoping that when you're so dead set on someone, and it's fair because you're only judging it based on what you've seen,
Mm-hmm.
that there'll just be a match by them. You'll go, you know what, fair fucks, that was good.
Well, I gave what was it 1, 2, 3 kid he was at the time. I gave
Yes.
him the chance when
With Bret Hart on Raw.
Yeah, gave him the chance.
And I enjoyed that match more than you did, I think.
Yeah.
But you still didn't score it too badly, to be
No.
fair. Anyway, we continue. Vince sends us backstage where Todd Pettengill is standing beside a very pensive-looking WWF champion, Diesel. Handsome boy, isn't he, Diesel?
He is.
Todd,
Here specifically, let's be clear.
Yes, oh, for sure. Todd asks where Diesel's head is at, and he says his mind is in a couple of different places. Firstly, with it being Mother's Day, he mentions that he lost his at the tail end of last year, so he's feeling reflective, but wishes all the other mothers out there a happy Mother's Day. Todd asks Diesel how he's feeling, specifically in his lower back, after the recent attack from Henry Godwin. Diesel says he's a marked man, and that Ted DiBiase didn't get the job done with his attempts of taking him out, as Big Daddy is here live in living colour. He says he's 100%. Todd asks Diesel his thoughts on Shawn, who will no doubt be watching, and the big man says he's focused on stopping Sid. Sid claims he's the master. Well, I'm the walrus. Goo goo gachoo. Big Daddy in the house, coming at you, baby. Diesel, when he said that, I was just like, you've broken yourself there. He made himself laugh with that, and from that point on, the promo goes downhill.
Yes, because I'll be honest, I started this one and I was like, oh, he's actually making me pay attention because he's doing the chilled voice. He's been taking lessons from good old Jake the Snake, and I was like, oh, this is all right. And then as soon as I Am the Walrus happens, I was like, that I liked. And then I was like, oh, now he starts shouting and also just speaking rubbish, so I stopped listening.
Yep. Diesel asks how far away they are from the match and guesses about an hour, which is confirmed, making Holly panic and look at the time left on the show.
You know I did.
Of course you
For
did.
sure.
I know you
I
did.
was like, surely not, please.
Yeah. Now the champ increases his volume levels, which he always does when he ties himself in a knot on a promo. But thankfully, we are now at its end. Completely loses it after the goo goo gachoo.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, he's done.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he goes, I need to shout.
Panicked.
Do you remember when he cocked up his lines at WrestleMania last month and then did the same thing? Anyway, back in the ring, we can hear the music of Jerry Lawler, who is standing in the middle of the ring. Obviously he would be, because we're back in the ring. Vince says King is joined by his mother, but is very confused when he sees a young lady on the King's arm. I'm more concerned that Vince, sat at ringside, didn't spot this until the cameras were in close.
Maybe he had his eyes closed.
Yeah, maybe that's what he thinks about all his sexual partners, that they're actually Linda, he just can't quite see them. Lawler, evidently taking a page out of Freddie Blassie's book from the first Saturday night's main event. Do you remember where he introduced us to his mother, who was a young
Yes.
lady? That
Yes.
was brilliant.
That was good. This
This,
is not.
agreed. King says he wants to make his mum proud, and the young lady replies that him beating Bret Hart tonight will do exactly that. After his win tonight, King's mother says he wants to challenge Helen Hart. Says she wants to challenge Helen Hart, Brett's mother, to a match, which makes Jerry bounce up and down on the spot. Lawler looks around the crowd, wondering if Helen Hart is there, and says if you see a sack of wrinkled flesh, that will be her.
Very nice.
King gets a kiss on the cheek for good luck before helping his mother out of the ring. Doc, with potentially the line of the night, sure has aged well, huh? Best thing Doc will ever do.
Yep.
Todd is now standing with Bret Hart behind the curtain and asks Bret how he's doing after his match earlier. The hitman tells him to look down, and whilst Holly tries to avoid looking at his penis, he begins bouncing on the balls of his feet to show he is 100%. It is an April Fool's, but Bret tricked Lawler into thinking he was injured. I didn't hate that.
No, I didn't either. I did like what he does to carry on that joke. I thought it was quite funny.
When his music hits, Bret walks out in a mock limp, which I assume is what you're
That's what I
referring
was
to,
thinking about, yeah.
and the look on the King's face is actually very good when he realises he's been conned. It's pretty good facial acting from the King. Bret enters the ring and begins chasing Lawler until he's backed in the corner, where he connects with a right hand to the gut. So we are going into the next match, Bret the Hitman Hart versus Jerry Lawler.
Yay.
What were your levels of anticipation for this one?
I really wanted it to be over quick.
Well, it wasn't the longest.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. There is something about... I said it earlier. Put Jerry Lawler on commentary. He's bearable. He's a bit annoying, sometimes a bit funny, bearable. I do not want to watch him at this point in a ring.
Yeah, his peak of commentary for me is when he said Mae Young was so old that when she was born, the Dead Sea was just sick. That's good. That's a good line.
Yeah. I just put him in a ring and it just bores me.
Can I give my theory as to why that is? Because he's an unimpressive, unserious dad wrestler.
Okay.
He's cosplaying as a wrestler. It doesn't feel like he's actually a wrestler. But I appreciate he's got one hell of a legacy behind him. But the stuff in WWF, like I said earlier, it's a joke, and that's kind of positioned in a lot of respects as a joke. Even with his matches against Bret Hart, that is how it comes across. So my expectations were very low going into this one too.
Okay.
With the bell sounding, this one is underway, and Bret lands a couple more choice punches to the midsection before a headbutt sends the King to the canvas and out of the ring. The Hitman follows and bounces Lawler face first off the guardrail and then the steel steps. Back in the ring, and Earl Hebner is a happy man as the King looks to cower behind him and use him as a human shield.
Is it this one? This match?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That, by the way, the highlight of the match for me.
Yeah, well, we'll get there, don't worry about it. More right hands to the midsection in the corner, and Lawler finally finds himself snapmared to the canvas and punished with a leg drop. Whip and back body drop puts the King back on the canvas, and now the Hitman is choking him over the second rope. Mm-hmm. What's your face doing?
I know what's coming.
Okay. Second whip sees Bret duck too early, and Lawler looks to hit a pile driver, which finds its mark. Very nice pile driver, and the King celebrates, which is actually his finisher, by the way.
I don't want to see them.
Wait until the next one. He celebrates too long, in fact, as Hart has returned to his feet and begins unloading right hands in the corner. Running Bulldog scores, and now King is begging off. Pile driver is returned, and damn, that one looked nasty. I'll be honest. Yep. That one made me feel uncomfortable. Forearm drop hits King on the cheek, and now he's clawing through the ropes towards his mother. As he's getting choked over the bottom rope, Doc claims Bret made a pass at Lawler's mother, which Vince says is absurd. Eye rake across the top rope, but the King, do you not even like the one where their eyes get dragged along the rope? Slightly different.
I don't mind it, but I'm still going to boo every damn time.
Body slam to the Hitman and but the King fires back with an eye rake of his own. Yep, body slam to the Hitman, and Lawler slowly makes his way to the top rope, but pauses to argue with a fan on the apron. He takes flight, but finds himself punched in the midsection on landing. Whip and back elbow puts the King on the canvas, and Bret follows with a headbutt to the lower abdomen, shall we call it, before unloading with mounted right hands. Shinja has made his way down to the ring, and has made his way to the apron, where Earl Hebner is quick to tell him to leave. Here we go. Brace yourself.
I love this.
Whip sends Lawler, and I remember thinking, why is Earl standing like that? That's weird, because he's positioned himself, his one leg and top half of his body is out on the apron while he's telling Shinja, but one leg is very much placed within the ring still.
Yep.
Whip sends Lawler to the ropes, and he knocks Earl Hebner off the apron, tying his leg between the middle and bottom rope, leaving him hanging upside down. Only Earl fucking Hebner, baby.
Oh, this is everything. Oh, I love it. I love it. I can't be mad at it.
Is Earl Hebner an unsung hero in our these recordings.
He might be.
He's up there, isn't he?
I think we might have to do a little segment at a later date. It's our favourite moments of him so far.
I'll tell you what, if that man's on Cameo, I might be coming his way at some point. Tell you that. Side Russian leg sweep by Hart, who climbs to the second rope as Hebner is pulling on Shinja to help untie him. Second rope hits home, but nobody is there to make the count on the cover. Hakushi is now on the scene and flies from the top rope to deliver a double axe handle to the back of Brett. Back up top goes Hakushi, and with Lawler holding him in place, Hakushi lands a diving headbutt. 2, in fact. Now Hebner has been freed, just as Lawler secures a jackknife pin, which is actually a pretty good pin, securing the 1, 2, 3. Jerry Lawler is your winner by pinfall. With the win in the books, the King is not done quite yet and pulls Brett back to his feet to hold him in position. Hakushi hits the ropes but misses his clothesline attempt, instead connecting with Lawler. Brett hits a couple of right hands on Hakushi, who leaves the ring, and so too does Shinja. Vince says, "There goes Lawler, leaving with his mother. I mean lady." You can see Brett mouth, "That was fucking bullshit."
Yeah, it was.
Vince says, "I don't think I've ever seen Bret Hart this angry." Give it 2 years, Vinny. You'll see plenty. Brett is seen mouthing, "Fuck, that was horrible." As he's in discussion with Hebner, and Hebner's like, "I don't know, I thought my bit was pretty good." This one is over.
Yay.
Holly, what do you think of the match?
I really just didn't enjoy it. But I knew I wouldn't.
It's effectively a one-sided beatdown that ends in a screwy finish.
Yes. And
it's never going to be great.
It's all the things I don't like in a
Jerry
match.
Lawler.
Yeah.
Interference.
Exactly. But
Ref bump.
But I gave it 0.5. And that 0.5 is all for Hebner.
Okay.
I loved that. Normally, his shenanigans annoy me. But because this match for me was just pointless, it was great.
I've gone higher than you, so I went 1.25. So still not massive, but the reason why is Earl Hebner, funny as fuck.
Yes.
But also, as a kid, I remember watching Bret Hart against Jerry Lawler, and I hated Jerry Lawler. Right. So any time I got to see Bret beat him down, made me happy. So I felt a little bit nostalgic, taking the ending out of it, which still works. Yeah. I was fine with that, but I can't give it a good score as well. No. So 1.25 felt just about in the right spot for me. Okay. There. I didn't even look up Big Davey Melt's scores on this. So maybe at the end I'll see if I can find them, and we can cover that as well. We now go backstage where we see a very, very close-up shot of a sweaty and intense Psycho Sid, who says, "Time has run out, just like the last grain of sand through an hourglass, my friend." Sid says that Diesel's reign will be over and a new man will be crowned the champion. The camera now could not be any closer to Sid's face without being physically inside him. Yeah. Diesel will become one of Sid's symbols. A symbol of victory. What the fuck does that mean?
I don't know.
Okay. Diesel will become a victim, and there is nothing he can do about it. He will have to meet the master, the ruler of the world. Don't know about you, Holly, but the close-up and heavy breathing has me feeling incredibly uncomfortable. But I guess that was the point of it all.
I just put that he should probably see someone about his congestion issues. Oh, I hate that.
Yep.
It's a pet peeve. I hate it.
Yep. Well, so you hate snoring as well?
If I am sleeping next to someone and they snore, they won't be for long. I won't kill them. That makes it sound a bit stressful. I'll wake them up though.
Well, hopefully we never have to share a bed then. Back in the arena, we see the In Your House logo flashing on the canvas before we stop off at commentary, who discuss the upcoming prize draw for the house in Orlando. Doc says he still has golf privileges. Todd and Stephanie now take the lead at the entryway, where we see footage of the property once more on the big screen. One thing about the big screen I should say as well, there's something really nostalgic to me about it not just being one big screen and being loads of mini monitors
together.
Yeah, it dates it as well, but it's like a fuzzy, warm, comfortable spot for me in my memory. The house even comes with a screened-in swimming pool, but Holly, forget all of that. It's now time to draw the winner from the glass container full of submissions, or the Tupperware of whatever you said.
Do you know what they should have done? It's made a really big tombola thing that had to be spun around rather than just shoving them in a
with 340,000 entries in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
How big's this tombola?
Like big. Wouldn't it be great?
It would be great. What a fucking waste of money that is.
I'm pretty sure they've wasted money on many things.
In
over the years.
1995, WWF did not have the money to waste, trust me.
Well, now, maybe they could do it now. The next Rumble.
Yeah, I
put
don't see
everyone's
that.
names in a big tombola, spin it round.
Well, they
fill them
do-
out. It's like a football draw.
But they
It's
do.
like
They have done that for Royal Rumbles.
Great.
And usually they have like someone like Candice Michelle there doing it as well, because she's really good at spinning things with her hand. A moment later, Stephanie tells Todd to go get a rake to mix the envelopes up, and he asks, where am I expected to get a rake from? The garage, of course, and he scurries off to get one. A moment later, he comes back with two, and he and Stephanie pose in the famous American Gothic style before they mix up the entrance. And by mix up the entrance, I mean they scrape about 10 off the top.
Oh,
so those people have been fucked.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's now done. Todd scoops Stephanie up and places her in the tank. I don't know if that was called for, because she can reach in.
Wow.
Where she pulls out an envelope and hands it back to him. To make it official, he calls in Len Bacon and Laurie Zip, who are either related, married, or both, and apparently they will make sure that the winner meets all of the eligibility requirements.
Okay.
Todd asks Len how they're doing, and with a cracking voice, Len blurts out, "We're good!" And then people laugh. The winner meets the criteria, and now they head to the banker's phone from Deal or No Deal to make the call, but they are not available. The second time, it does ring, and Todd looks dead-ass in the camera and says, "Is your phone ringing right now?"
Creepy.
Yep, I went back to Progress show there for some reason. Anyway, it's something like out of a horror film, that particular moment. A man answers, and Todd asks if Matt Pomposilli is at home. The family are all screaming with excitement as they are confirmed the winners, although the dad doesn't believe it to be true.
No.
Some fireworks go off above the ring in celebration for the new homeowners. Holly, do you believe that this was real or just part of the show?
I believe it was real because 6 months later, the people that owned it sold it.
It was real. Article from WWE.com.
Go on.
Long before Mr. McMahon chucked gobs of cash at the WWE Universe during the $1 Million Mania Bonanza of 2008, WWE gave away a house. It was midway through 1995's inaugural In-Your-House event, that Talking Heads Todd Pettengill and Stephanie Wiand called a randomly selected WWE fan live on pay-per-view to let them know they just won a crib, and I am quoting directly here, in Orlando. The lucky kid turned out to be 11-year-old Matthew Pomposelli. More than a decade later, WWE made a house call to Matt to find out what happened to his palatial prize. So first thing, are you still living in the home? Matt: No, I don't own the house. I sold it about 6 months after I won it. We just moved from New York to Las Vegas, and it was a big decision to move into the Florida home. Rent it or sell it. It was a tough choice, but selling it meant I'd have more money for college. A lot of money for college. Wow, an 11-year-old flipping real estate. How much did you bank from the sale? I believe I sold for more than $175,000, which back then was good money for an 11-year-old. It's good money now for an 11-year-old. How did it feel when you actually realised you had won? It was surreal. I'd filled out the form, and about 3 days before the event, my dad put it in the mail. We ordered the pay-per-view that night, and they dug out one envelope, one of about $340,000, and made the phone call to the winner. They dial, and my phone does not ring. Turns out they had the wrong numbers. They redial, and a minute later, my phone rings. My dad gets on, and I can hear his New York accent booming through the TV. I'm screaming in the background like blood-curdling screams. So that was Matt himself. So in school, you kind of became the real-life Richie Rich. Or it says Richie Richie.
Oh.
It's Richie Rich, isn't it?
It is Richie
cool.
Rich, yeah.
Yeah, it was like instant popularity status. You win a house, and everyone knows you. Did you have any fun inside the Orlando Casa before selling it? Who the fuck was this interviewer? Oh yeah, I remember pulling up in the limo, and right as I got out, the cameras are flashing. I got to meet the Bushwhackers and a bunch of other WWE superstars. We did a lot of vignettes of me going around the house and doing different things which they aired weekly. It was awesome. It was like I was part of the WWE family for just that month. I still have the whole experience taped on VHS. Vince says congratulations on the house win, and Doc informs that he and Matt have been friends for a number of years. In fact, he'll see him tomorrow, and I'm back to feeling uncomfortable. I thought that was Mel Phillips's gig. A shift in focus now as we change gear toward the main event where commentary discussed the WWF title match. Vince says that Sid is not fond of being called Psycho, but based on his actions, very much is. Well, thanks for that, sex freak Vince McMahon. Doc says that he has questions about Sid's defensive skills, but McMahon proposes that is because nobody has been able to put him on the back foot. Salient point. Main event of the evening, Holly.
Yes.
Psycho Sid with Ted DiBiase versus Diesel for the WWF title.
Can Ted DiBiase go away?
Another one of the not popular with Holly people.
No, really isn't. Which clearly means he's doing a great job. Because he just annoys me without doing anything.
But is 123 / X-Pac doing a good job?
No, he's just annoying.
Okay, fine. Just to know there's differences, things to be distinguished within your
Yes.
field of hate, as we'll call it.
Oh, hate's a strong word. But I'll use it.
Yeah, okay. How many of these people would you consider yourself to hate?
No, I don't think I would say hate them.
Bill Alfonso.
Oh, God, I piss off. Bloody whistle. I hate the whistle.
Okay, hate the whistle, disdain
I hate a
the man.
megaphone. I hate all these things. But I feel like it's harsh for me to say, God, I hate that person. I just really, really, really don't like him.
Okay, so none of them have drifted yet
Not
into
really.
the land of hate.
No.
Okay.
Trying
Someone
to portray
will.
myself as being a semi-nice person.
I tell you what, if we had had 2 more consecutive episodes with Jimmy Hart in it, I think he might have fallen on that list.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Because he hit 4 in a row. Then my favourite part was when he rocked out in TNA. That will never not be funny to me. That was
Good, I'm
amazing. Oh, I mean, you revel in my misery as well. It's only fair I return
roll
the
on
favour.
WrestleMania when we watch Johnny Knoxville. That'll make me happy.
Shit house. First things first. Great entrance music. Great look. Great character. Psycho Sid looks the part.
Yeah.
Everything about that character, regardless of what you think of what he can and can't do in the ring,
Yes.
he plays that role superbly well.
Yeah, I agree.
His promos, hit and miss. The one he actually did on this show, didn't mind.
The less he says, the better it is.
Agreed. And as long as he's not shouting, because he did the promo very much Jake the Snake-esque, so you probably listened to it a little bit more.
A little bit.
What he
Make a
said
lot of
wasn't
sense.
awful.
Yeah.
No, but it wasn't like some of the stuff he
There's
said.
some word tombola, but some of it's good.
Yeah, a word salad, if you will. Like, it's not like he's come out and said, I am twice the man that you are, and I have half the brain that you do. Like that, it wasn't one of them.
What I do like is that he didn't talk about himself in the third person.
No, that's fair, he did not. As the WWF champion makes his way to the ring with just about the right amount of soddenness in his hair, Sid exits the ring and just stands ominously looking down at Vince. Fantastic.
Good. Very good.
Really good. I am the walrus. No, sorry, that was just a fan in the front row. Diesel raises his arms in the air, but Sid's attention remains fixed on Vince McMahon. Doc is an absolute snake in the grass. As he tells Sid, Vince called him Psycho, and Sid challenges McMahon to say it with him standing there, which he will not do.
I was hoping he would.
Yeah, but if he goes, Psycho, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
What are you going to do, big boy? And then, like, I've killed you, basically. Sid impressively leaps back onto the apron, a la Brock Lesnar, to
Yes.
re-enter.
Not always like that.
Yep, it's really good. And I am shocked by how much I'm enjoying the Psycho Sid presentation here. Really surprised by it.
Yeah.
The bell sounds and the two men walk closely to one another, and we see Diesel is mocking the way Sid is blinking. Again, I'm annoyed he doesn't seem more concerned about a genuine threat of a big man. He did the same thing with Undertaker too, and I hate it. It's just, he's trying to basically play off like nothing phases me.
Yeah.
Something has to phase you, man. It makes it look like you're not taking it seriously rather than, oh, you're cool. So I'm immediately disengaged when he does that kind of
okay.
stuff. I go, okay, if he doesn't care, why should I care?
Yeah, okay, I get that.
They exchange a few words before Diesel shoves him in the chest, dropping him on his arse. Sid rushes back to his feet but eats a series of right forearms from the champion, who whips him into the corner, and the way Sid runs, it's just hysterical. It's like a prancing deer from corner to corner, because he swing. It's just so odd. So odd. He eats a corner clothesline and is whipped back to the other buckles, where he takes a running splash/clothesline. 3 Diesel back elbows find their mark, and Sid falls to the canvas before rolling to the outside. DiBiase is quick to discuss with Sid before jumping up on the apron, only to jump right back down as Sid comes charging in. A moment of calm as the two men return to conversation, but this is broken up by a double axe handle from the apron to the back of Sid.
Boo.
More forearms land and they head back into the ring. I assume you're in Diesel's corner for this one?
Yeah.
Diesel heads in over the top rope, so it's a good job Andre was long gone and didn't see this, otherwise he might have got a thumb up his pipe. A series of short arm clotheslines stagger Sid, but he does not go down. After hitting the ropes though, a flying clothesline does put him down for a count of 2. Sid rolls back to the outside, and his kick out was very impressive actually to power Diesel off like he did. Diesel is pulled under the bottom rope and eats a right hand, but fires back a number of his own strikes before the action returns to the ring. DiBiase is back on the apron, with Diesel distracted, Sid lands a running knee to the back, sending the champion head over heels to the outside. Sid picks Diesel up and drops him sternum first on the ring apron. The pace is slowed, which works well for Sid's brand of violence. One thing I will say actually, prior to them doing the announcing of the winner for the house, I looked at the timestamp left and there was about 26 minutes, and I thought, there is no way they're letting these big two Goliaths go for that long. Fortunately, they didn't. We can see that Sid has a busted lip, and I thought I saw this the first time they left the ring, but it's clear now, and he beckons the cameraman in to watch him kick the champ in the ribs. Sid licks his lips and spits the blood at Diesel before picking him up and running him back first into the ring post. That wasn't an easy lift, was it?
No, but drink for it.
Sid licks... Oh no, we've done that again. Now Sid marches to the ring steps and charges to boot Diesel in the temple while he's on his hands and knees. That looked good. The challenger heads into the ring to celebrate, and when Diesel returns, he commences with clubbing blows to the back of the neck, slowly breaking him down to the canvas. Sid is too slow between the strikes and presents the champ with an opportunity to fire off an elbow to the midsection from his knees. Diesel whips Sid into the buckles but runs into a back elbow, and he gets levelled with a clothesline. Sid climbs to the second rope and roars to the crowd that he is the ruler of the world. Unsurprising.
Incorrect.
Yeah, well, true. Back to the clubbing elbows to the back of the neck, but again Sid is going too slow. One big axe handle to the back puts Diesel down, and now Sid has applied the camel clutch. The way that Sid's lips is bleeding makes it look as though he is wearing lipstick, which actually goes well with the Psycho name.
It does.
The fans are chanting Diesel as DiBiase is told to leave the apron once more by the official. Shut up! Sid tells the crowd.
I was not expecting that.
But that is what he does.
He does.
Tells the crowd whilst he is still deep into applying the hold. Diesel tries to break the hold, but the challenger jumps and drives his weight into the lower back before connecting with a leg drop. Very arrogant cover, only gets a 2 count. Sid questions the cadence of the count, but returns to punishing Big Daddy Cool. Face first into the canvas goes the champion once more, and the camel clutch is reapplied. Holly rolls her eyes. Diesel appears to be fading.
Aww.
Holly, can you do the honours? It's been a while.
He's asleep. He's asleep. He's awake.
When the hand does not drop a third time, the camera goes for a close-up of Sid, who looks like a cross-dressing predatory fish.
It's a really good close-up, actually. It's brilliant.
Yep. Now there is a wrestling gimmick. Someone get me Russo's number.
Oh, God.
Sid looks to drop his weight once more, but Diesel scoots out of the way, causing him to drive his own backside into the canvas. Couple of elbows from Diesel, but Sid puts him down with a one-armed chokeslam. Not the best, though. This man is a monster, says McMahon. Sid does the last rites and then actually delivers a very good powerbomb to the champion. Very good.
Yes.
With his arms raised on one knee, he takes too long again, makes the cover. 1, 2, no. Diesel staggers to the corner where Sid drives him face first into the buckles, not once, but twice. But Holly, is Diesel about to truck up?
Mm-hmm.
Corner whip sends the champ to the buckles, but he sidesteps the charge and delivers snake eyes instead. Whip and big boot stagger Sid, and now it's the challenger's turn to eat a powerbomb. That was a bit over-rotated, but still an impressive feat. He kind of lands more on his arse, doesn't he?
Yeah, I wrote that. To me, it makes me go, ooh, because it's like he landed on his coccyx,
yeah,
which is like a back jarring
thing. But it's the same way that Sean tried to make Diesel look a bitch by deliberately over-rotating at WrestleMania, where Sid didn't do that. He just happened to land that way. Diesel makes the cover, and this one should be over, which it is, but because Tatanka has hit the ring and begins stamping on the unsuspecting champion. Diesel retains the WWF Championship by disqualification. I've got a bit more, but what did you score this match?
I think you'll obviously disagree with what I've said, because I have scored it not high, but in comparison to whatever else it's not the highest match I've scored.
Thank God.
I gave it 2.5 because I liked it. I thought it was decent. This ending is not for me. I understand the logic of it
Yep.
because they're two big guys, so not one of them is losing to the other if you're doing it this way. But I hate it. I just hate it.
Yeah, I don't know. There was always going to be a screw finish in this one because I think at this point, Sid in this run in the WWF hadn't been beaten cleanly. So to keep that intact for him was quite important. But I guess they didn't just want to do an outright count-out finish or something like that. So make it look like Diesel was about to get the win over him legitimately, but then take it away.
Yeah.
So there's still that question. Would he have kicked out? I gave it 1.75.
Okay.
I thought for these two men, it delivered more than what I anticipated.
Yes, I think that's why my score was probably a bit more than I thought.
I thought the pacing overall was good. The length of the match was good. So I didn't really have too many complaints. The content was okay. I mean, it's fine for the people involved. The ending I didn't like either. But again, at the same token, I understood why they went and made that decision.
Yeah.
The bell sounds to ring. The bell continues to ring as Tatanka, DiBiase and Sid continue their business. Sid looks for another powerbomb, but gets backdropped as Bam Bam Bigelow hits the ring to fight Tatanka. It's been a while since we've seen Bammers.
Yes.
He just saved Diesel's career, is what Doc says. Okay, I'm not mad at that. Howard Finkel announces Diesel as still being the WWF champion, and Vince celebrates, saying he was robbed from his outright victory in any regard. The lights in the ring go down as the spotlight trains on Diesel and Bam Bam as a few fireworks signal the end. The copyright chyron appears up on the screen as the show fades out, but it isn't quite over just yet, is it, Holly?
No.
We go to an alien spacecraft, where we see two aliens discussing if there is any reason to keep planet Earth and human beings in general alive, or should they just destroy it?
Yeah.
Apparently, the only reason is an organisation called the WWF. So good night, everybody else. You are all fucking worthless. The World Wrestling Federation. You never know. We might be saving the world. Holy shit, the height of modesty there by Vince McMahon and co.
Bizarre.
I remember that, though.
Do you?
I genuinely remember, because I saw this and went, was this meant to be here? And I went, oh my God, no, it's this.
I thought, because Netflix likes to stop a show and run immediately into another one, which is fine, but annoys me when I'm not paying attention.
Fair.
And I was like, oh crap, what's just started? What is this? And I was like, oh, it's still the end of this show.
Imagine thinking that a WWE show would naturally segue into aliens talking in a spaceship.
I mean, you never
or some
know.
other fantastical bullshit. So, Holly, what did you think of the show overall? What rating would you give it?
I gave it a 5.5 out of 10 because I would say it was all right. I would say it wasn't awful. It wasn't amazing. I would just say it was all right. I enjoyed it, but I think I enjoyed it because the length was good. Any longer, that 5.5 would have dropped dramatically, I think.
Funny enough, I was going to say, weirdly, 5.5 was my score as well.
Okay.
If you add an hour to this show, there's no way it hits 4. No way it hits 4.
Absolutely not.
I think, I don't know, even if like the hour that they added was like really good wrestling action, I don't know. I guess we will never know, but my instinct is that it would have suffered overall as a result. And if we saw really good in-ring stuff, would the stuff that we did see suffer as a result and become more of a slog?
I think so, because I think, especially with my scores, I think I had, 3 matches that I mid-carded.
Yep.
The rest were lower.
Yep.
But I also think if you're putting something in there that's outstanding,
yes,
those are going to just drop.
Quite
I
agree.
thought it was all right. As an opener, fine.
And to be fair, we actually rarely agree with the end result in terms of the
true.
show, so this is one of the few that we've done that for. But forgetting all of that, forgetting the very first In Your House, that's in the books, that's done. What was Holly's outfit of the night? How many contenders have we got?
3, 4, 5, 6.
6. Okay, let's see what I can guess in there.
Sure.
Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah.
Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't remember who else was on the card. The Smoking Guns.
Yeah.
Not Jerry Lawler. Hakushi.
No.
Really? Okay, fine. Shinja, definitely not. Who else? Adam Bomb.
No.
Wow, okay.
Where's a unitard well, but no.
Mabel certainly won't be on there, so hit me with the rest. Who have we got?
So, in order of appearance, some you obviously have mentioned. So, Bret Hart, this look is just ridiculous. Find me a better one. So good.
Yeah. Does it beat Randy Savage? It's tough, isn't it?
That is tough.
Some maybe, others not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I've put, hate to say it, but Double J. actually looked really good. And I
Yep.
did mention
Oh,
the light
Razor.
up hat and sunglasses. Razor, without a shadow of a
Forgot.
doubt. It's so simple but looks so good. Smoking Guns,
Yep.
obviously. Owen Hart.
I nearly mentioned him, but then didn't.
I know it's simple. He's
No, it's
part of
fine.
he's part of the allowed to wear a unitard
Yep.
group.
But he has the leg ones as well, doesn't
Yes.
he? Yeah.
Yeah. And do you know what? As much as this really irritates me and I can't bear to watch him, King gets a mention. But for his
Jacket.
outfit pre-wrestling, it is the jacket
Very
with
specific.
the lapels, like everything. It does look good, but
Okay, so I think, so for me, the top 2 on the night,
yeah.
and I think it will be one of these, is Bret Hart, Double J.
Mm-hmm.
I think you go Bret Hart.
I think you'd be correct.
I'm good at guessing these. I'm good at guessing these. I forgot about Razor being on the show, to be fair. And even though it's a good look, it's not the best look on the night.
No.
So Bret Hart is, I don't know if he's actually won.
don't-
I feel like he might have
done,
won
you know.
one.
I think he might have done. I
Maybe
think
from WrestleMania 9.
I'll have to start keeping a tally of how many times these people, because Jess has been up there a few times.
Savage.
I have to keep running total of who's.
Luca Crucifino
Oh,
was the
yeah.
last one. We
know.
definitely, I'm trying to think who else has been on there. I feel like JR came close to one of them when he wore his
Yeah,
tuxedo.
Did. Stephanie McMahon's in there.
Elizabeth was up there. Stephanie McMahon did win one.
Yeah,
I don't think
so-
Triple H has. Jeff Hardy.
Obviously.
Jeff Hardy's obviously won
Obviously.
in a couple. But always interesting to see where your
Yeah.
brain goes with it, because sometimes I actually struggle to get the end result. Kane, I think's even won one for you as
I think he
well.
might have done, you know.
Oh, Shark Boy.
Oh,
Shark Boy won
God.
one because you put, and funnily enough, because I listened back to that episode recently, and you go Shark Boy because LOL or something like that. It was because you couldn't find anyone else. And that kind of brings us to the end of the show. But before we go,
yeah.
your favourite part personally,
Oh.
which you always freeball,
Love
you
this.
raw dog it, is sharing the socials
Yes.
with the lovely listeners.
wintwicepod@gmail.com, and then every other social, so Instagram, YouTube, is wintwicepod.
And we're available on all, well, as far as I'm aware, all platform podcast providers. So Spotify, Apple, etc., etc. We are all over the shop. So there's multiple different areas where you can go and listen to us. I've enjoyed this.
Yeah.
Have you? I think we've kind of recovered a little bit from the doldrums of a show that we watched. Not last one, but the one before definitely
Yeah.
hit us a bit hard.
Yeah.
And the one before that was even worse.
Yes, it was.
Because Royal Rumble I thought was all right. But anyway, until the next time, guys, I hope you have also, and girls, I hope you have also enjoyed this. And until the next one, take care.
Bye.
Until next time, this has been a Win Twice Wrestling production. Peace out.